Just go.
This is a new laptop. I haven't even linked into my Facebook yet.
I got a new laptop on its way here right now because I messaged you before we even got live that this laptop I'm on is like 4 or 5 years old, and it's got something is malfunctioning with the fan where it just spins like the dickens. Either something is malfunctioning with everything else and it's getting really hot, and so the fan just has to work its ass off because she runs real hot real often, and then it just shuts down. Like it gets so wound up, it's like boom. And this week Saturday I was sitting on the couch trying to like get some shit done, and I think it shut down like 7 or 8 times in a row, and my wife was sitting next to me. She's like, I don't know how annoyed you are, but I'm really fucking annoyed at your computer right now. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, so got me ordering up a new
I got my wife's very expensive company computer down here. I'm afraid to use it. I was going to use it because mine was doing an update, and I was like, I don't know if it's going to be done in time.
Those updates suck. Yeah, sometimes they're like, you're 93% done, and then the last 7% is the last 7% of a computer update is the opposite of the mileage left in your gas tank as it winds down.
Exactly.
Like when it says you have 50 miles left, you got like 12. You know, and 100%. That's like when it says your computer update's 93% done, you're like maybe halfway there. It's the same thing. So how you been, Jeff Ford? What you got going on? What's new?
Are we on? Are we? Are you? Oh, are we?
Yeah, we're out there. The show just sounds the same as us BSing before.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's the same thing actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, good. Busy. July is usually our slowest month. The start of the slow season, and it was going as planned as far as being a slow month, and then we landed like 3 huge commercial jobs. So I just been busy every day. So
hell yeah,
it's been good. And then I'm actually leaving tomorrow night to go back to Michigan.
What are you doing up there?
I'm just guys week, I guess I should say.
Figured just go kick some ass.
Yeah,
we're gonna or something.
Go shoot some stuff and ride some dirt bikes and up north stuff.
Yeah, this sounds as good as it can get. We did that. We did that the whole week of the 4th. We were up in northern Wisconsin, just drinking too much, eating too much, talking a lot of smack.
I was in Wisconsin on the 4th too.
Where were you at?
My sister's in. You're gonna make me look it up. I don't even know. One of those lakes that I can't pronounce. So
yeah, it starts with a wa, ends with the
Wally. I don't know. But yeah, it was on a lake that had a lot bigger house than I have. So
go get your Magagog.
Yeah,
that's one of those.
That's exactly what it was like.
Super good lake. It was either that one or it was Mud Lake, one of the two.
Yeah, it wasn't Mud Lake. I know that. But
I got I'm rocking the Clean Power Wash koozie. It's amazing how it just like isolates the logo there. Our boy Rob Anderson sent me a text earlier rocking the best damn bookkeeping koozie. So I actually have his koozie like on my desk, and man, that just looks so cool the way the background like comes through there. Rob, this should be like on a Facebook video for your business. Yeah, man, it is. Speaking of July, it's been a really goofy July because a lot of other places, like some places have been really dry and some places have been really wet. So in Minneapolis, we've been really wet, which caused June to be a little less than normal, but also just like push some demand back a little bit. And so I'm hearing weird mixed reviews on July. Obviously, if you can get some commercial stuff, that can like change your summer because residential we know slows down a lot. So I'm hearing like a lot of really slow Julys, which is typical, but in a election year, and we'll get into some maybe election stuff, some assassination attempt stuff because it's all what everybody's talking about. But in an election year, it gets weirder in July because demand is already really finicky, with just people being worried about stuff, and then you throw an assassination attempt on that, and the normal summer lull, just weird stuff going on in the world right now.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, Evan, go ahead. What are you saying?
No, you were going to say a thing.
No, I was just saying I was planning, like I said, I was planning ahead. So I was making vacations. So that's why all my vacations are in July. I was like, well, if I keep myself busy with vacations or like just going to visit family or friends, I won't be depressed on not, because I mean, I haven't got a single anything request for a estimate since July
Residentially?
3rd. Yeah, residential. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I keep relogging in to make sure like I paid the service.
Yeah.
Make sure I was like, I'm still I paid Google, right? They still got my ads going. So yeah. It's just completely one speaking of Google, one good thing that I learned from when we're at the huge
the sales boost or the huge
was somebody was telling me to get on Google Local, and I did that, and that's been a huge help this year. I mean, I haven't done any marketing yet this year other than Google Local and a Google ad that gets ran through my my website. That's it.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and I talked about this on the show a few times. So for all of our listeners out there, sorry, because I'm about to talk about it again. So here's the cool thing, Jeff. I don't know if this is cool. Here's a thing that may or may not be cool. We have years and years and years of marketing data for multiple locations across the U.S., and all of them show a kind of a summer dip from a residential standpoint. If you can get some commercial, there's different sectors where you can get it going. But interestingly enough, like lead flow generally is like cut in half. Really from like the 4th up until kind of mid-September. And then it starts coming back. So we know there's a lull. What's really interesting though is the conversion rate we have isn't any different. Meaning like if we used to get 100 leads and we converted 60 of those, well, now we're going to get 50 leads, but we're still going to convert 30. So that tells us the propensity for people to buy is not lower. They're just too busy. Oh, Zig, we were already talking shit about you. You're a little late. But the propensity for them to buy hasn't changed. Just their willingness to go search has significantly decreased because they probably got it done in the springtime. But it does mean that like boots on the ground marketing can work all that much better because as long as you can get to them, which they tend to be home a little bit more. Zig says propensity. Is that a big word or is that a wrong word? Did I say a wrong word? Is that even a word?
He looked that one up. There's no way he just pulled that one out.
He put it in air quotes. You learned that from a book or something. I am a bookkeeper. I do keep a lot of books. Mahogany. So I do think there's still plenty of room to sell stuff, but digital ads won't do it because people aren't out clicking. So you got to get the yard signs, the flyers, the door knocking, the letters on people's doors. And if you can get in front of people, obviously the conversion rates of those tactics are different than when they're searching for you. But if you can get in front of them, then they're more likely to search for your digital ads and so on and so forth. So,
right.
Or just sell 3 big commercial jobs. That works too.
Well, that worked. That was my savior. But one thing I did do was because a lot of my jobs I do them during the week, and we start in the morning where I'm done by probably 3 or 4 because I got to pick up my daughter. So I'd say 99% of the time people aren't home when I'm washing their house, like whatever it is. It's very rare that I'm actually home. And
even post-COVID with just more and more people working from home.
Yeah, I mean it's just or you get like their hermit and they might be home, but there's not a lot of people up like out on the streets,
Yep.
So with July, I've been scheduling a lot of my stuff for Saturday mornings, Saturday afternoons.
Oh, there
and
you go.
I've landed probably 1 to 2 jobs every time I'm out on a weekend. Or
I suppose people see you out and then they're just like, oh, hey, I need you to do this. Right.
And that helped a lot because I'm not used to. I went to a community last Saturday, and it was a older community, but I usually never work on weekends. My wife is like, no Saturdays, Sundays.
Yeah.
And I went out there and I'm not used to it. And I had to keep stopping because everyone just kept coming up and asking for a card or wanted to they didn't even care about the numbers. They're just like, all right, can you come here tomorrow? Do you want to come here right now?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah. So, I mean,
super interesting. But that, I mean, that just supports what I was saying, where it's like they're still willing to buy. They're just not actively searching. Like it's not on the top of their mind unless they see you out and they're out on vacation or they're at work or whatever the case is. So that's super interesting. Are you still rocking the Humvees, or did you swap out vehicles?
No, we still. My daughter just crab crawled down the stairs.
That's awesome. Yeah, just going stealth mode, going pure ninja coming down.
No, yeah, we still got the Humvees, and I did just switch over to a new military trailer that is more open. So we use all military trailers and our Humvees, and the last one I had walls on it, and it was a pain in the ass to actually get in to fix anything when it broke. So I switched over to more of a flat base trailer, and well, this is my daughter Hannah. Sorry,
get up here, Hannah.
Somebody should be in bed. I don't know what she's doing.
Got to make it. Yeah, she's up late, 9:30, still rocking. Yeah. Still rocking.
Yeah, why are you still awake?
Go drink a Mountain Dew and get your butt to bed. Go drink a Mountain Dew and then you get yourself right to bed. You
don't see Mountain Dews in Maryland hardly at all. It's weird. Yeah,
are you guys mellow yellow people or Sundrop or what?
They kind just don't know. It's none of those. You just don't see it. They don't do yellow pop here, and then I would get yelled at for saying pop soda, right? Maryland. But anyways, she's being quiet.
Get yelled at for saying.
Yeah.
Quiet until not quiet. Exactly. It was hilarious trying to get my 3 kids to bed. My wife, I don't know if she realized she did this, but my wife had like a bunch of sales trainings to schedule. And so before 4th of July, 3 weeks in a row, she was on the road from like Monday to Wednesday or Monday to Thursday. It wasn't super, super long trips, but like most of the week when we got kiddo sports every night or something like that. So she had 3 before the 4th, and then she was back home for 2 weeks. And now this is the first of another set of 3. So I had like solo dad duty tonight. It's like the one night a week we don't have any sports going on or anything. But man, trying to get 3 kids to bed before 8, like it's on Central Time. So I'm trying to get in bed before 8 o'clock and like convince them that it's later than it really is.
Right.
I do have the headphones on. I don't hear any noises, but it could be total chaos out there.
You got to do like what my sister used to do to me and wind the clocks back and be like, "Oh, look, it's bedtime," and I'd be like, "But I'd be like, well, the sun's still out, you know," and she's like, "Oh, I don't know what to tell you. It's 8 o'clock, buddy. You better get up there. You're gonna be grounded." And I was an idiot, and I'd go. So
you're just saying I need to reset the clocks. That's the plan.
Just I don't think the kids these days would fall for it. Like she's about to get in trouble now. See, I can hear Mama Bear coming downstairs now.
Uh-oh. Nobody want that. Now you in trouble.
But yes, we are still, as far as the trucks go, and they work great, but there's no air conditioning in it. So
really?
Yeah. Well,
today it was 115 in there.
Well, yeah, it was about 110 with the heat index today, and I regret that decision horribly. I should have taken my other truck. I should have taken my F-150 that has air conditioning.
I was gonna say, do you just bring like buckets full of water? I don't even know if dumping that water on yourself would be refreshing. It would just like boil you.
I got a Easy Breezy. You ever heard of those?
No.
It's a cooler that has a air conditioning condenser in it. And it has a tube, so you fill it up with like quarter water, then put your ice, you can put your drinks and everything in it.
Yeah.
And then you just turn it on. It works really well. I mean, it'll cool down the whole truck. So until the ice melts completely, and then you gotta get more ice. But
it'll last. You're just blowing hot, humid air on yourself.
Oh God! Speaking of so funny thing is, I got stuck in a traffic jam on 95, about to go through Baltimore, and I mean,
is that where the bridge went down or something?
It was near somewhat by the bridge. About 90 degrees out. I'm done washing. I did 4 washes. I already been driving for about 30 minutes, and then it says like all 4 lanes closed, down to 1 lane during rush hour. Yeah.
Oh no.
No more ice left in the Easy Breezy. All I have is just the hottest of air blowing on me. So, and I remember texting my wife, and she works downtown. I go, what do you think I should do? I go, I have 30 seconds, essentially till I get to this exit, and it's either I'm going to sit in this traffic or I'm going to now drive a tank through Baltimore to cut through Baltimore to get to my house. And she's like, she goes, I can see out she was in a high rise. She's like, I can see as far as I can see, it's stopped completely. So she's like, I would drive through the city. So.
You might as well go through the city and find a gas station and get some ice too.
Oh, it's miserable. Oh, you don't stop at the gas stations in the city. You just keep driving.
I feel like you could stop. Ain't nobody can mess with you.
Yeah, no, it's not even worth it. I don't stop at red lights. I just keep driving through. I just go, good luck, everybody else. I'm bigger than you, so
yeah.
I look both ways first. But that's it. Oh.
Yeah, just roll through. It's not like a total just burst through it.
No, I mean people stop. It's funny things. Yeah, people seem to slow down really quickly when I do that. So they stop and let me go
when they see the Hummer rolling through.
Yeah,
like, I don't want to run over. This guy probably has somewhere to go. He's probably got somewhere to go. He's saving.
Speaking of, so then I bought. This reminded me because of dumb decisions. I bought a mini Mondo, and and I love mini Mondo. So it's a whisper washer surface cleaner.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
A 36-inch, I think, but it's more long than it is wide.
It's a little bit of a oxymoron, a little self-defeating.
Right. Yes. So I've used it, and I borrowed my buddies to try it first, and I loved it. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll pull the trigger and buy it. So I buy it for this because I had this commercial job. So I went and did the commercial job, and then tonight I'm supposed to go back and do the sidewalks. Well, because
tonight when it's down to 95.
Yeah. Well, I was going to, and now it's raining, so I'm done. I'm going to just get up early.
Oh, but that might have been a nice cold front. Now it's probably like in the 70s.
I know. Well, yes. What's that? Good night. 1 second. Right. Love you. Good night. See you in the morning. Okay. All right. Well, anyways, I didn't have a spot that I was used to where I could put this thing on my trailer, so I kind of just found the spot where it's balanced on the front of the trailer and leans up against the tank.
Yeah, did you at least like throw a ratchet strap on it or something?
Yeah. I mean, I got these big straps I just strapped. I have a square tank with a cage, so I just put it on it, and it's solid, not moving. It's so solid that when you back up into my garage, and the handlebars are too tall, the straps will hold so much that it'll bend the entire thing in half. So that was a 2009 mistake. So
yeah.
That happened about 2 hours ago. So yeah, I'm on my third drink now. I'm very happy.
Good recovery.
You were like, you texted me like, so you ready to go? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, I got some things to talk about. Dude, I used to fish out of kayaks a lot, and so I'd always have the J racks up on the top of my SUV back in the day, and like knew it was going to happen at some point in time.
Right.
And I think it never happened with the kayaks. And then one time I was loading up the pickup truck with the topper on it, and I had the whole back open, and I like backed into the garage like I was just going to back in and load it up, and I had the topper window open. So there went the topper. Like the topper window bent pretty bad. It didn't break off because I like caught it right away.
Right.
But the trimmer on the garage door got pretty effed up.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's the other. Yeah, I forgot about the trim. Trim's pretty dented, pretty good,
but it still does its job. My trim still shows the character blemishes from that incident, but it still does its job.
I don't think my wife's noticed it yet, but she did hear me yelling and throwing things, so she knows something broke. I don't think she knows what, but she'll be happy to hear that it's just one of my toys, as she calls it. And
yeah,
like okay, if you saw the receipt for this toy, you'd probably be just as mad as me.
Yeah. So, you wouldn't think it's a toy so much.
Yeah, exactly. Because I can't make money off it now. So until I get a new handlebars. So
well, what do handlebars run?
I haven't even looked yet because
can you bend it back?
I tried. I've been hammering the shit out of it. So I don't know. But it's I think they're coming out crooked, and I'm like, I was just getting so frustrated. I knew I had to come talk to you, and I was like, I'm just gonna.
And that'll be tough if you don't get it right. You're gonna always turn left a little bit.
Well, that was the thing, and oh yeah, be like, why is this so hard to get the sidewalks done?
I just keep going in the grass. Damn it!
I keep going to the grass. is bullshit.
It's like NASCAR driving, just a little left lean the whole way.
Like, man, this guy put this mini Mondo on Marketplace for hardly anything.
Yeah,
he just wants $700 for it. That's great. It's shaped like a horseshoe.
Hey, Zig wants to know if either of us clowns are going to the Huge. Maybe you can get a new mini Mondo for a deal.
Yeah. Well, are you guys doing any contest?
I'm not I'm not going this year. I'm not emceeing this year. I've got like 3 hunting trips this fall, and I actually just booked a fishing trip just before the Huge with Joe. Joe and I are going ocean fishing, which sounds like he's getting her dialed in, but now he's breaking rods and stuff, that's bad for future fishing trips, Joe. But yeah, Zig, I didn't have Sid lined up to come on my show, but last week my guest couldn't make it, and Sid texted me like right beforehand, and I was like, well, I was just going to skip my show, but you want to come on and talk Huge? So we gave some tickets away to the Huge. I bet if I don't know if he's doing a live show or not this year, but I bet you could scrounge up a ticket or reach out to Rob Jugenheimer, because he won last week's ticket, but he said he didn't think he could go. Reach out to Rob. You might be able to scoop up his ticket.
I got 2 tickets.
Well, there you go.
Were you talking to me or Joe?
I don't know. You. Well, I was kind of talking to Zig.
Oh,
because he's either you guys going.
You don't need to talk to Zig.
No. Yeah, Zig. I don't need to talk to you.
I thought Zig has tickets because he bought them with me when we were at the Huge last time.
Oh yeah, he bought them last year. Yeah.
We already have them. That reminded me because it's in August, right?
Yep. Yeah, mid-August sometime. Yeah, I figured I have like an elk hunting trip for 2 weeks. This wasn't intentional. My fishing trip with Joe is intentional. My elk hunting trip wasn't super intentional. We were gonna go for like a week in late August, and then my buddy Ben drew a Arizona tag that's like a 2-week long season, and so now we're driving out to Arizona together, and I'm just like the pack mule. I'm just going along to call and to try to help him out. But that was like the game plan. If one of us drew, and we weren't supposed to draw, it's supposed to be like 7-8 years before you draw. He drew year 3. So like, I guess we're going to Arizona this year. And it just so happens to be, we're gone for 2 weeks. We actually have to come home like a couple days early because we have a walleye fishing trip that weekend going into the next week. So I'm gone for like 3 weeks in a row.
How's the wife handling this? She's just like happy.
So here's the funny thing, Jeff, and I don't know, I've made this comment a couple times here in the last couple days because I don't know. I really thought she would like for sure be like, yeah, you probably shouldn't go ocean fishing with Joe and Jeremy because you're like gone a whole bunch. But she was like, yeah, let's look at the calendars. You can probably swing that. And so there's only 3 possible things that it can be. One is she loves the shit out of me. Highly unlikely. So these next 2 are way more likely, which is she doesn't love me very much. And so she's like, yeah, just get your ass out of here. So that's a possibility. That's probably like twice as likely as the first one. Or it's that because she's traveling for 6 weeks out of 8 weeks this summer, she feels guilty that she's gone so much. And so she's like, yeah, go do your thing.
Definitely the guilt.
She also made the mistake of telling me, hey, I don't really care if you go on all the hunting and fishing trips in the world. Like, as long as you know how to cook it and you make it. And like, she loves my cooking. Thank God. Because she loves eating everything we go get. So if I can like put some sort of food thing together with it, she's all about it. She has her Venison 365-ish blog. So she like blogs a lot of the wild game stuff that we make. So usually that's kind of a sell. And she had said, as long as I know about it far enough in advance, it just becomes future Marty's problem. If you like spring it on me and it's next week, that really drives me nuts because I got 3 kids to coordinate and blah, blah, blah. But if it's far enough out and so I can plan on it, then my parents or my siblings or whoever can help out. And then it's not a big deal. And so I'm like, well, that's easy. I just got to put like a bunch of hunting and fishing trips way out into the future and then we're good to go. Again, I don't know. It's either she feels guilty, she doesn't love me that much, or she loves me a whole shitload. It actually, as I say that out loud, it's probably all 3 of those at different points and times.
That's exactly it. That's like, I only know the reason why I was allowed to go on my trip. I'm whispering now because I don't want this to echo through. See, she's upstairs.
Yeah.
It's because she just got back from California because she got called to work, and so she was there for 5 days. And that was when I had the start of one of my commercial jobs. So I had to organize trying to figure out where I'm taking my daughter all week, every day, whether it's daycare or camp or whatever else, while trying to organize boom deliveries and when employees are going to get there and when we're going to start, the horrible weather that we're having. So the delays, yada. So long story long, the first day we got there, and I was like, we're gonna do this at night because it's a gym. It was LA Fitness. And like it's the people driving around the parking lot it's a disaster.
Yep.
So they closed at like 11. So we got there at like 10, ran all of our lines, set everything up. I got the boom in place. And we're mostly just doing a simple building wash, but mostly rust removal. Because it used to be a Bally's Total Fitness. So it was all metal boards with stucco. So all that rust is just dripping down. Yep. So I was like, I mean, easy for me as long as I can reach it. But so I get up there after running. I have like 400 feet of 1.5-inch fire hose for the hydrant because it's the only water source. The building has no water source.
Oh, you got to get completely water
off. Yeah. So I got that, and then I run all my lines, and I get up on the boom, and we go up, and I start spraying right away, and the entire sky. I mean, like I can't even describe how many lightning bolts went off all at one time when I'm 60 feet in the air.
Do you guys get forecasts out there, Jeff? Because it seems like your truck
went. I don't got time to look at forecasts because my wife went to California and I had to get this done. So and I already hired a babysitter. I was like, I gotta go. I gotta get this. I gotta work on this. So, oh my God, it was a disaster. So I sat there for 2 hours waiting for this rain to stop, and it just kept getting worse. And then I looked at the forecast, and it said it was going to go till like 7 a.m. I said, all right, I'm going home. Yeah. So that was interesting. So,
well, way to be safe. Good job being safe.
I've seen enough videos where I'm like, I don't need to be 60 feet in the air during the lightning storm. So it's been a fun week. So my point to that was, when she got home, and I was like, hey, the guy's trip is this week, and I was supposed to leave like this coming Friday. And she's like, oh, well, I mean, you don't have any jobs booked out after Wednesday. So why don't you just go Wednesday or Thursday? I'm like, oh, I can do that? Like, you're allowing me to do it? She's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay. Yeah, good. I'm going to leave. I might pass my jobs on to somebody else, and I'm going to leave Wednesday morning.
Yeah. I don't need these jobs. I wasn't supposed to have any.
I'll subcontract it to my buddy, and I'll be like, "Look, just give me 20%. You can have the rest. You go do the jobs. Give me 20%.
Finder's fee. Pay for my vacation."
Exactly.
I gotta address this one here. Zig says, "Well, first, I just gotta catch up. I gotta catch up on all these comments." Joe, he's out catching redfish, but he's breaking rods. Right? He said he broke his ultralight trying to tangle with the big dogs, and then apparently there just wasn't enough rod for that fish, Joe. That's okay. That's a good gear test. That's how you know that rod, just did what it's supposed to do. It just broke. Zig says he didn't buy the tickets for the huge. And he said,
Yes, he did. I was sitting next to him.
He said, no, yeah. So you're not alone in this thought. He says, I'm not going. Too much other stuff, plus Orlando to learn some lighting stuff because he didn't get some lighting going. And Amanda.
Oh, man. Amanda said.
Amanda had to come in and check him, said, ooh, I think we did. We bought him at the convention before the drawing. And Zig.
Thank you, Amanda. Finally.
Zig, you're down 2-1 here. You're down 2-1. I'm not casting a vote. I don't want to get in the middle of this. Zig says.
Well, I think this is when you had your cooler and you were handing out party favors.
I might have been keeping everybody hydrated. That's entirely possible. Zig says, I don't remember that. So Amanda's checking the emails. Jeff's clearly in agreement here. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to say go or don't go. I don't have a horse in this race, but Zig hit it on the head. I am a fan of being realistic about opportunity cost and sunk cost, which is it almost, and this is a weird thing for humans, but if we can actually put our rational brain on and be good decision makers, it doesn't matter if you already bought the tickets or not. What matters is it worth going, and what are the incremental costs of you going? or what's your next best alternative and what's the cost of that. It doesn't matter what you've already paid. That's a sunk cost. It should be irrelevant in your decision to go. That money's already spent. It changes nothing. If you do go, you're still gone for those many days. You still have hotel and food and all that shit to pay for, which at the Gaylord's really freaking expensive. So you still have costs to go from where you're at. Actually, the ticket for the huge is probably the lowest price, like the lowest cost thing. Like you eat a meal for a day and you already spent more than your ticket for the huge. The huge is very like well priced for a convention. It's super affordable. The hotel isn't. You still got to pay for flights. Still got to pay for all the food that you need there. So that's really your decision is, do I want to spend all that money? Do I want to be gone for a few days? Or Zig, to your point, you got the thing in Orlando for lights that you want to do to launch lighting. You're going to launch lighting anyway, which like maybe there's going to be, clip of folks at the huge that are worth talking to. Anybody that's doing lights, talk to JC Chinelski, talk to Ryan Fox, talk to Matt Hayden. Those dudes know some lights. Talk to Jason Guyman.
Is that what Zig's doing? Is that what Zig's doing for in Orlando? Because I was texting him.
Yeah.
We were talking a couple days ago about starting lights, and I didn't know if you were going to a class or if it's a convention. Is it the same time as the huge or what?
I don't think it is the same time as the huge, because that'd be kind of dumb for anybody in our industry to schedule something at the same time as the huge. I think it's just like it's another fall trip, and so how many trips do you want to be on, and how many flights do you want to have to pay for? You're kind of picking and choosing.
Because Scott's always hunting, so
yeah, he's got to prioritize, right? I do think Amanda's note's funny. I'm away on a work trip. Like she's not even there. She just like checked in to check on Scott, who just starts saying shit that's not true. July 31st, lighted up event down in Orlando.
Well, that's my anniversary, so I don't think I can go to that.
You don't want to go to that one. No. I'm busy. I'm out salmon fishing, so I can't get down to that one either. I got a lot of fishing trips coming up, but that one I'm with my wife. That one I'm with my wife.
I think you might have an issue.
That's a family. No, me have an issue. Where's that Joe Deveneaux guy? This guy fishes. This guy fishes as much as like my wildest dreams of wanting to get out fishing.
Well, look at the size of the fish he's holding. Do you catch fish like that?
Joe's holding the fish like he was holding it normal, and then it started doing one of these things, and so he like started holding it like he's a guitar player. Like it just got way up on it. That's what happened. That's my explanation for Joe's picture, but it's a good one. Funny. I like it. Zig said, I love the huge. I want to save my time for other conventions, venture out to new stuff. Definitely want to do Sales Boost again. Sales Boost was maybe my favorite thing that I've ever been to.
That's what Scott was saying. He really liked it.
It was so good. It was the right size. They just did it so well. Angela Schroeder, who's on my radio show, like that is her jam. She just puts on awesome events. JC crushed it from like an MC perspective. They had good speakers. They had good flow. They just took care of the guests and the vendors so well. Like everybody was super well taken care of. And it was the right amount of time. They didn't try to like pack too much in. It was the right cadence for speakers. It was the right cadence for bullshitting time. It was the right cadence to get out and eat. Just everything timing wise was really well structured.
Huge. I had an extra ticket. And I was he offered for me to buy it off him to go, but it was last minute. And I remember I was trying, but I had something. I think I had a family thing. I was going out of town, but I definitely want to go to that if it's as good as you guys say it is. 100%. Highly
recommend it. And like I'm not dogging on the huge. The huge is the huge for a reason. It's huge, but it's like too huge for me. It's fun, but you can't even like see everybody, and it's in such a big establishment at the Gaylord, and I know this isn't their fault, but it's kind of their fault. Last year, the whole trade show floor was just smelling like a toilet the whole time. Like,
that wasn't their fault. Yeah, I mean, backup with sewage. It was bad. Yeah,
it was so bad, and I'm just like, it's somebody's fault. It's not nobody's fault. Like, who's accountable? And like, why was it still in there? Like they should have vacated. They should have done something different. But instead, like how much methane can you breathe in a couple hours? Because that had to be like an unhealthy level.
Oh, well.
Like I've
walked, they weren't about to go monitor that.
No, I've walked through some like cattle barns in central Wisconsin, like literally one of the biggest in the world, like a dairy facility. Right. And the methane in there was less than what was in that trade show floor. It was disgusting. Zig, huge is great, but 3 years in a row, kind of want to let it rest for a year or two, then go back. I'm with you, Zig. I'm with you.
That's good. I mean, I only did it 1 year, and I was planning on going back. I wanted to do kind of like what Scott was saying earlier was to get my wife involved, take her to the huge, let her see the platform of what this all could lead to, and what what all the different options you have and everything else. Just because she's not really part of it.
Yeah, and I think like spouses in the space don't get exposure to like the size of the industry and like how many people are out there as resources
and everything else.
Yep.
And that's a huge thing that I wanted to show her. And that's why I bought 2 tickets. I think we're going, but I have to double check. But and we just like, we like Nashville. We have friends there. So even if we just poke our heads in for a day, whatever, just so I can show her around and show her like, look, this is the potential of where the business could go. I go, it's not just a mom and pop thing that I just thought up one day. Like it's a actual industry, that's booming. Right. So I think we're gonna go. I'd really like to go to Orlando. I've been wanting to go to. There was one that I bought tickets to in Orlando with what's her name? I'm so bad to remember. She owns what's the big store in Florida?
Oh yeah, Power
Orlando.
Yep. Trudy's event.
Trudy,
right?
yeah.
Trudy.
Yeah. She had an event, and I was supposed to go to last year, and I ended up having a funeral to go to, so I couldn't go. But I wanted to go to one of her things.
So. Yeah, same. She was looking for a few speakers for hers, and I was gonna go, and then it just didn't like line up with whatever. I don't remember if I was already gone or if Marty was gone. We already had a lot of traffic going on. Zig says, Dan, will you be at Sales Boost? Wife is probably coming next year. I don't know what the date is. Like, assuming that the date's good. I think the only thing we have is springtime. Where we gotta go. I don't know what the date is. I know they were looking at kind of like merging forces with maybe the home service workshop that Responsicon turned into, and maybe PWMCA too. Right. They were all talking about trying to like all do it at one location so they could collaborate on it and just have more resources for it. So that was the plan, but I don't know where they're at. Matthew Petrowski says, do you remember Rhinelander, Wisconsin, 2006? Matthew, was that when we kicked your guys' asses in football? That was probably when we kicked your guys' ass in football. Or was that when you kicked our asses in basketball? Somebody's ass was getting kicked back in the day. Oh, no. Man, I'm trying to think. 2006 was a good year. 2006 was a good year. Enlighten me, Matthew. Bring me back. Bring me back to 2006. All right, what do you got there? That's not Roadhouse. That's Arnold.
Well, so we got our 80s. We got Predator. I forgot to show you this. And then instead of Roadhouse, we did Classic Predator and then Bloodsport.
Wait, you literally have 2 different movies on right now?
Yeah.
Cool.
I forgot that I put them on, and then we started bullshitting, and I completely forgot to show you my bar.
Yeah. Okay, let's transition. So I want to talk about your bar. I want to talk about a hilarious Facebook interaction that I had, because I think this is a fun outlet to bring those things up. Probably talk about it on my radio show tomorrow too. That'll be fun. We'll hit it a couple times. I'm still waiting for Matthew to enlighten me about Wisconsin, Rhinelander, Wisconsin, 2006, because that was a long time ago. Damn, that was like almost 20 years ago, Matthew. Bring me back, dog. Yeah. Bring me back. So the bar, is the bar, is that a mirror behind you, by the way, or is that like an open window?
Yeah,
concept?
so sure. No, it's a window. It's a mirror. Oh. So
you got the glass. You got the glasses hanging down and everything.
Yeah. Hold on. So, and then there's the bar. It's about 11 feet.
Oh yeah.
long.
With a map of Florida. Was that an upside down? That's a mirror behind
Well,
you.
so these are all, yeah, it's upside down. So these are all the known shipwrecks along the East Coast that haven't been found that have gold in them.
Well, let's go.
So
Why are we sitting here talking about this when we could be out there getting some gold?
Exactly. That's what I always said. Here's my pride and joy. I'll show you this one. So if I can get out of here. I found this on Marketplace and works perfectly, but let's see. 1949
kegerator
fridge. No,
you got a
1949 with the original 1949 bulb in it.
Oh damn! The bulb is still working.
It still works. It's
damn,
crazy.
dude.
I mean, the thing looks brand new. It's freaking all lead.
We had a fridge just like that in college. Might have been the same exact fridge. I mean, not exact fridge because you have that one there, and so that wouldn't have been the one I had in college. But before I took possession of it, somebody had put a tapper handle on the outside and hosed it up, and so you could get a keg on the inside, some CO on the outside, and you were pouring beers real good. So we had a kegerator in a fridge that looked just like that. It could hold a half barrel perfectly. It was quite excellent.
Another transition. I just thought of something because I'm filling up my drink. I randomly was at a bar restaurant the other day, and they always throw down a coaster, right? And I was looking at the coaster. I was like, I could get one of these coasters made. So I made a Freedom Exterior coaster. The QR sign, and I just took them to all these restaurants and bars. I bought like 2,000 of them. I've gotten a shit ton of business from those.
Really?
I didn't know if they're going to work or not. I've gotten at least 20 calls from those, and I've landed every single one of them.
Really?
Honestly.
Well, I suppose you're talking to somebody that's usually like 3 beers in before they call the number on the coaster.
Right. Yeah. I mean, exactly. And then they're just or either that or they scan the QR code and then they just send in for they fill out. The QR code takes you right to my website for the form to fill out for an estimate. And then I'm like, yeah. And then I just respond real quick and they're like, okay, cool. I did I did 3 today off of these. I just got them like 2 weeks ago. So I'm booked out all the way till next morning.
What's the cost of 2,000 coasters?
Well, I think I did them in pairs. I did 1,000 for, I think it was like $240.
Okay.
So I think I just once I saw, but they go quick. Like, I mean, because they're just throwing them out there every time, if it's a big bar. But I didn't think I was going to get that much response. So you say it's $500 or $400 for 1,000. No, probably $380 for 1,000. Can't remember exactly. I may have been drinking when I ordered them.
Joe Devino says, I slap QR codes on all my competitors' signs.
That's fun.
I like it.
That's awesome.
He says kidding.
No, he's not. You can't. That's so clever, Joe, that I don't think you're kidding, buddy. I think I'm going to do that now.
I think Joe is kidding because I think Joe's too busy fishing to go out and even put QR codes on signs. I think he's too busy fishing. I know this guy's out fishing. Every time I see a Facebook post from him, he's out slaying bass in the rivers with his honey. Justin's always out slaying them. He wants some good fishing stories. Him and Emily are dying to hear it. I got some good fishing stories. I want to hear Joe's fishing stories. That boy, I bet he's got some fishing stories. Let's do this.
I got a fishing story
hold on, Jeff. I'm not ready for your fishing story yet. We got to do some bookkeeping. We got to make some bookkeeping.
Okay.
So we're going to do a client acquisition and an ROI calculation for the folks quick. So they know when they buy coasters or when they spend money on marketing, what they're looking for to try to measure. So let's do this. So you got 2,000 coasters. You spent $500.
No, not definitely.
Well, I thought you said you got 1,000 for
300. I didn't know I was going to have a quiz. It was $380 for 1,000 coasters.
380 for 1,000. So then if you got 2,000, you spent $760. So
no, 2,000. I got 2,000 for 380. That's what it goes.
2,000 for
I did 1,000, and then I wanted to see. I want to see how long it lasted, and then
you need to pick a story and stick to it, Jeff. You just got to pick a story, and you just got to stick with it.
But you're making me drink while I'm doing this. So, all right, yes. So 2,000 coasters.
This is the most fun way to do bookkeeping stuff. All right, and so you got 20 now. So you got 20 jobs of it. I don't expect that your conversion rate's going to stay at 100%, but it does make a little bit of sense that it would stay high on something like that. Like if they're going to call, they're probably ready to book something. So we'll just assume 20 clients and you spent $380. Was it 360 or 380? Where was I?
Let's say 360, whatever.
We'll call it 360.
Yeah.
Right. So if you spent $360 and you got 20 jobs out of it, your client acquisition cost is $18, which is unheard of. Normally, I would say for a new client, I'm generally willing to pay somewhere between 15 and 30% of revenue, depending on the service I'm offering and how often I think it's going to repeat. So if it's like $1,000 average job, which I'm not saying your job's at $1,000, I'm just saying that's an easy number to work with. I would generally be willing to pay anywhere like south of $300 for one of those clients. You got them for 18 a piece. Now, if your conversion rate was 50% on those 20 leads, you're still at $36 a client. Like it's still an ungodly awesome client acquisition cost. What do you think the average job size on those is?
I would say on all of those jobs, I have nothing under $400 finished cost. And there's nothing more that will take longer than an hour and a half.
So is it fair to say like 600 would be a fair average or 500 would be a fair average?
I'd say 500. They're the biggest thing with the customer clientele that was there. It's an older. It's a fun area, but it's an older crew. So I'd say the average age of people that were at this bar were mid 50s to mid 70s. Okay, and they were just that's why, and they were just.
Yeah. So here's
not huge houses, but
no, but I mean, like, still, I'm like from a financial perspective, just to describe how well that worked for you, and just how people should analyze.
That's why I can't even. It's hard to even describe it because it works so well, and I was so surprised by it because it was just a fluke thing. Like I was just like, all right, and I did, like I said, I did the first 1,000, and that was an eye opener because I did the first 1,000. And I didn't realize a lot, like 5 or 6 of my clients that I closed came from those. I didn't ask, I just thought they went to my website, whatever. Yeah. And then after I did their house, I was like, hey, by the way, how did you hear about me? And, I saw you fill out our form. Did you hear us on Google? She's like, no, we're at DeSanta's, pizza bar. And she's like, I read on your coaster. I was like, oh, okay. And these are just throwaway coasters. These aren't like, So once the person uses it, they just throw them away. They're those cheap cardboard ones. So 1,000 coasters goes really quick. So that's why I was like, oh God, I just wasted, $100 and some on these 1,000 coasters, not realizing I probably made $2,000 off them, because of my 5 clients or something. Yeah. So if it's I immediately ordered 1,000 more and then gave them out. So now I'm going to order another one.
Keep them coming.
But now I got to just figure out, I got to spread out where I'm going to put them at other establishments. But you don't want to put them at, a young establishment where they're just going to get thrown away and, no one's looking at them. But,
I was going to say, you got to go to the places where homeowners hang out, not where teenagers and college kids hang out, for sure.
100%. But yeah, I've never, out of all marketing I've ever done, I've never had a response like I have with those.
No, that's crazy.
It might be a fluke. But I don't know. It just came to me one day when I was sitting at that bar. I was reading a coaster that had it was a Corona coaster that had a QR sign on it. I was like, let me scan this. I don't know, maybe it's a coupon. I don't know. I just was bored waiting for my drink. And then I was like, well, I could do that. I got my own QR code. I got all this, and boom. Oh, yeah. So it worked. Sometimes things like that work great, and sometimes
and just back to the data I talked about earlier, which is like people aren't going to go search your Google ad. They're not searching for pressure washing right now. You got to go do things like that to go get in front of them because their propensity to buy is still the same. Zig, propensity. It means like the frequency when they sign up.
They're urged to buy.
Yeah. And like just case in point, they're still willing buyers. They're just at happy hour more often because it's nice out and they want to go sit on a patio somewhere. So here's my nerdy bookkeeping math. So we already did the acquisition cost. That was $18 per client. So you did around $10,000 of revenue. If you got 20 jobs from it, you did around 10,000 worth of revenue. You invested $360. Now, 10,000 of revenue. This is a calculation I see people do wrong all of the time. ROI stands for return on investment. You want to know what your return on that is from a percentage standpoint because you want to compare it to, should I go invest in the stock market? Should I go take out a CD for 6%? Should I go invest in a different business? Should I try this or try that? Like should I borrow money? And if I do borrow money, what rate should I borrow it at that I can make, that if I like borrow it here, I can still make more than that to pay it back off. So it's your return. It's how much money you clear. It's not, and this is where I see people get this wrong all the time. And it drives me nuts. Like Send Jim sends this shit out all the time. And I like the folks that run Send Jim. I'm just picking on them because I see this. They'll be like, the ROI on this is 10-1. And it's like, no, that's the revenue over investment. That's not no fucking calculation does that. You never look at revenue over investment. That's not a real thing. You don't make $10,000 when you do $10,000 worth of work. If you're a scaling business, you make $1,000 to $2,000 on $10,000 worth of work. Now, I'm not trying to dog on that. Like the normal pressure washing percentage after you pay all of your bills, pay all of your employees, pay for your infrastructure, pay for your marketing, pay for everything, you generally make somewhere between 10 and 20% net income on that stuff. That's before you buy a sweet Humvee rig like Jessica. But if we just took your net income and set it somewhere, let's say your net income is 15%, which is like an okay, healthy income for a net income. Again, after you pay all the wages, even paying yourself a wage as the operator, you have a job. That'd be $1,500. So you took $360 and you made $1,500. Normally you'd be happy. Normally you'd be happy with making, like, if you doubled that, right, and you made $720, that would be like 100%. That'd be like 100% ROI. You doubled your money. I'm not even going to do the math of what $1,500 is to a $360 investment. It's like a 5x ROI. My point is, like, you're comparing that to the return you would get elsewhere. Like, if you can go earn 10 to 20% on something, right? If you could just go borrow somebody money and you got paid 20% back, you would shut your business down. You would just go do that all the time. That would be a way better way to make 15 to 20% than to go wash stuff. But if you can go do that and get a 500% return versus a 15 to 20% return, holy shit. So when you look at, just for everybody that's listening, when you look at how well your marketing's working, for sure look at your client acquisition cost. Like $18 is unheard of. Normally it'd be like 150 to 300 would be a normal, like, fair acquisition cost for a brand new client. And then look at your ROI, but look at it in terms of your return on the investment, not the revenue on the investment. I just see that get done wrong so often. And then it's not even compared.
Explain the revenue on investment again one more time versus the ROI.
So, like,
I know I struggle with this all the time, but
yeah. So revenue on investment just isn't a thing that would ever be worth calculating. It's just not useful because you don't, when you do $10,000 of work, you don't actually make $10,000. So, like, you can't compare. Let's say it cost you $2,000 to make that $10,000, and you'd say, "Oh, we 5x'd it." Or one that I see that marketing companies will often say, because they're just interested in selling you shit, they'll say you can 10x your investment. So if you give us $1,000, we'll get you $10,000 of revenue. Well, when you make $10,000 of revenue, you really only make around $1,500, and that's like the minority of businesses are doing that well. Most make less than that. Because and then you still need to invest in trailers and trucks and everything even after that. So your revenue on investment is just a useless number, but it's what marketing companies use to sell you shit, because they're like, your ROI. They don't know what they're talking about, but they're just trying to convince you to buy their shit. Your return on investment is the real calculation of, let's say you spent that $360 and you did $5,000 of revenue, and your profit margin, not saying this is real for you, but let's say your profit margin is 10%. So you did 5,000 of revenue, which means you actually made $500. So you would take, the 500 you made minus the 360 it cost you to make that. So you have $140 gain. So you take 140 divided by 360 to calculate your percentage return, which would be, I did that wrong, 140 divided by 360, which would be a 39% return. And you would look at that and say, fuck yeah. If I just earn 39% return, I'll just keep doing that over and over again, because I can't go invest in the stock market and get a 39% return. That'd be crazy. Wow. I can't go borrow money on any other loan with an interest rate, right? I get 5% from my savings account. So you would never go invest in anything else. You just keep doing. This is with a 39% return. This is if you did $5,000 instead of $10,000, and if your profit margin wasn't that great, you would still keep doing this. Right. And so my point is, you would want to look at it this way. You'd want to know, I get a 39% return when I do this, just with this mathematical example I'm doing, because then that's your gauge to say, should I keep doing this, or should I invest in something else? I could go borrow money at like 12% right now. Maybe I'm strapped for cash, but if I know I can go generate a 39% return, why don't I go borrow money at 12% to go generate a 39% return? Yeah. Like, I'm just going to do that over and over and over again and make money with other people's money.
Right. I mean, that's no brainer. You're never going to find, like a 39% return is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, and yet you just made double that.
I know, but I mean, hopefully it keeps working. But I'm just saying, hey, we're gonna have to edit this video. I don't want everyone to hear about my coaster idea.
Yeah, don't do any. Yeah,
coaster idea. I didn't make any money off it. It was lying.
He was lying. They weren't coasters. He did it. He actually put the pee splash pads in the urinals. Is what he did. That was what he did.
Oh, that's
definitely not. They do have those. They do have those. That would be good. Hey, you're hosing this down. Why don't you let us hose your house down? While you're hosing this down, give us a call. I bet you could get something like that on there. You can put advertising on there. Why don't you just need to own the bar, Jeff? Just own the bar.
Huh? So, I mean, yeah. Well,
Jeff's bar. You just start sponsoring bars. Like, companies sponsor stadiums. Why can't you sponsor bars? Freedom Exteriors, hole in the wall.
You might be onto something. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I don't think my wife would approve of that, but if it makes money, that's the thing. My wife will approve anything if it makes money. But if it costs money,
39% ROI, then I'll talk to your wife. I'll talk some sense to her.
Yeah, we might be onto something, but yeah, I don't know if the coaster thing will work every time. I think it just worked really well this time, but we'll see.
And maybe, I mean, like, there's probably,
and I know a lot of it is the age of the clientele too, where I delivered them.
Well, I was gonna say, I think that's super important though, is like, what's the demographic in that bar and how do you replicate it, right? Like, there's value in marketing in the right places. Like, marketing, you can have the best messaging and the best branding in the world, and if you put it in the wrong place, it's like a billboard in the middle of a cornfield. Just only the person who's gonna see is the damn farmer. So, like, so much of it is the messaging, but so much of it is where you put that message so that people can see it. It's got to be seen. So I think you're onto something, man. I dig it. And again, like, I think that makes so much more sense in the summer. Like, people are out at happy hour. They're not searching your Google ads. So go put some shit in front of them, and then they'll go search you.
Right.
All right. Justin wants to hear.
The biggest thing was good. What?
No, you go ahead. I was going to transition.
I was just saying you could transition after this. I was just saying it was the QR code, because, like, I didn't get a single phone call or text message. They were all off my site. So, I mean, for whatever reason, the QR code was what they used. I never once got a phone call or a text, email, nothing.
You just gave me a really good idea. So in our Minneapolis window cleaning business, Andy, my old partner, has a bunch of billboards that he put up. And what I'm picturing is throw some QR codes on there, so all the drivers are going by trying to take a picture of it. And then we'll tell the cops, his wife is a cop. So we'll tell the cops to sit right there and ticket everybody. Well, just like pull everybody over, write them a ticket, give us half, because we put up the trap to fund
Oh.
you guys. So now we're in cahoots with the cops, pulling everybody over. And then the cop can say, hey, here's your ticket brought to you by Kahuna. If you pay this in the next day, you get $20 off your next window cleaning. Bam.
You might want to edit that part out of this video too, because I'm pretty sure that's a
Is that
highly illegal.
Is it illegal or is it a really good idea? I think it's both.
I mean, hey, I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I'm just saying I don't know how well that'll work out once the feds find out about it. But
hey, I'm just a bookkeeper, man. I'm just here for. I'm a visionary. I'm a bookkeeper. I'm just.
Sometimes you just gotta. Sometimes you just gotta spit out the ideas because it might. You might be so ridiculous, but something might fall off of it, and you're like, oh wait, I got another idea now. You know. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta say it out loud, and you're like, oh wait, okay, that was ridiculous, but now that I said it out loud, I thought of something else. You know.
Well, and that works. Sometimes you just gotta try it and see what happens. So I think that's the play. You just gotta try that.
All right, well, let's go. Speed trap, and road signs. I got
speed trap. Ticket issuing offer a discount.
And police
St. Paul Metro Police brought to you by Kahuna Window Cleaning.
And bribing police officer. Yes.
Yeah. And then we'll see if we can wrap their trooper vehicles. We'll wrap.
Do you want 20% off your windows? We'll pay your fucking ticket.
It just makes
and you don't got to go to court.
Tickets brought to you by Kahuna. Barry says, speaking of fishing, headed back to Destin with a cooler full of red snapper and amberjack. A few wounds from crab and shrimp. Nice shot, Barry. Way to get after him. Pounds, he says. Headed back with pounds. Pounds instead of wounds. He doesn't have wounds from crab and shrimp. He's got a few pounds of crab and shrimp. So he got out of there unscathed and got crab and shrimp. Nice work.
Nice. Where's he getting crab? Where's he at? Where's he getting crab at?
He's headed back from Destin. So I think Florida. He's down in Florida somewhere.
Oh, that's where Destin, that's where I want to move. Over by Crab Island.
What are you waiting for?
Over there?
I bet they got good crabs over there. Pretty sure. All right, Jeff. Justin wants to hear a good fishing story. Him and Emily are dying to hear it. You got anything? I
got a good fishing story. All right, so we're in it's pretty funny. I don't know. It's funnier when you're drinking, but we're in East Tawas. You know, do you know where East Tawas is?
It's east of West Tawas.
Right there. So on the map of Michigan. So it's about 3 hours. Yeah.
That's good to know.
So it's on a little lake called Little Island Lake. Right. And we're fishing all day and we're up there. It was me and my buddy Smoke from Elm Park, Michigan. Went up north and my dad met us there. So we're fishing. And then his buddy, Kevin, who's from South Boston, real thick accent from South Boston, you know. So we're drinking all day. So I'm probably in my 20s. So we're catching pike, we're catching bass. I mean, I'd say the deepest part of this lake was only like 6 feet. And you just catch them all day long. It was great. And this was right off our dock. And then we had a pontoon boat. If we wanted to, we'd go out. But I mean, you could just sit on the dock and cast out. It was amazing.
Just catch them.
So, but there's docks that run shore for the next house, and the next house, right? So, fast forward to it's been all day of fishing, and now it's nighttime. So, and we're pretty hammered, you know, but we're a little tuned up. We're ready to go, and we're still kind of fishing. Went for a couple of boat rides, went got dinner at the Moose, you know, and we come back and so we're sitting there and we're trying to do a lure. My dad's friend Kevin is trying to hook up a lure, and he's going, I can't see the hole in the dock, we're, you know, because he has a southern accent. And he's like, my dad's like, what? He's like, I can't see the hole in the dock. I can't see the hole in the dock. I need your light. I can't see the hole in the dock. And I'm looking over. I'm used to his accent, but I'm looking over at the other dock, and this fucking guy is like looking down with a flashlight, like terrified. And he goes, "Where's the fucking hole?" And I was like, "What?" He goes, "The hole in the dock. Where's the hole in the dock?" And he goes, "No, he can't see the hole in the dark. He can't see." He's trying to do the lure. This guy is terrified. He's about to fall in through this hole in the dock, and
The doc.
My dad goes, "Hey, don't worry. He's from Boston. He was born without a tongue. He talks a little funny." I've never laughed. Dude. I mean, if you could see this guy high stepping with a cooler and a rod, like trying to make it to his boat, it was the funniest thing. He was probably like 20, 30 feet away from us. He's like, "What hole? What hole? What hole are you talking about?" It was hysterical. It was hysterical. So that was my fishing story. That's the first thing I could think of.
So he didn't fall in.
No.
I like that one. I got a. I have a. There's no hole, so he made it. One of my best drunk to the point of like could hardly stand up but still remember it fishing stories. We did my buddy's dad still does this. I missed it this year, but they do like an annual fishing camp. And I'll rewind this a little bit because I'm a fisherman and so I tell stories. They're on like damn near year 40 of this thing. They call it G-Way, the Great Walleye Assault. And it's like a 10-day long northern Wisconsin. They fish the upper peninsula of Michigan a little bit, which as you know, Jeff, you're from Michigan, right? Like you grew up in Michigan.
My sister lives in Pewaukee. That's what it was. Yeah. Pewaukee.
So as you know, upper peninsula is actually part of Wisconsin. Like, yeah, they pay taxes to Michigan, but if you took a way more legitimate measure of true, like which state is which, there's more Packer fans in the UP for sure than there are Lions fans. They're definitely part of it.
Are you trying to trigger me or are you being serious right now?
Well, I'm being serious, but I'm not trying to trigger you. This is how Wisconsinites view the UP. Like, listen to their accent.
Yes, I know. Well,
listen to their accent.
Wisconsin, we call them mushheads for a reason. They're not exactly like there.
Oh yeah, they're goofballs. The UP is to Wisconsin what Canada is to the United States. They're just like the northern extension. The UP is Wisconsin's hat, which it actually kind of looks like. It looks like a little bit of a Santa hat laying on its side. Yeah. But so we fish up there. And this like fishing camp has been going on so long. Dan, who's one of the dudes, my buddy's dad, literally like wrote a letter. This must have been 20 years ago. Wrote a letter to Leinenkugel's brewery, and basically was like, "Hey, we got this fishing camp, northern Wisconsin. There's like 6 of us, and a couple of them are fishing guides up there. And so they're like, hey, if you sponsor our fishing camp, we'll go around the Northwoods at like the 4th of July parades and whatever else and just drink Leinenkugels and like throw it out to the, and they got sponsored. So like Leinie sponsors their little fishing camp, and Dick Leinenkugel like oftentimes comes up to camp. He and I, there was one year he and I both showed up in suits because he was running for governor of Wisconsin, and I was in the I was still like, before doing small business stuff, I was working in the corporate world, and I had to present to like a board of directors. So I did my presentation, and then I hauled up to camp, you know. So like I legit showed up in camp with like a suit and tie on, and I'm standing in camp drinking a beer, and here comes Leinenkugel. Dick rolls up and like gets out of his black, you know, governor whatever vehicle and like steps out in a suit and tie, and I was like, man, like, what are the chances 2 people show up at G-Way? Like, this is the flannelest wearing crowd you'll ever find. But here's 2 suits in camp. I don't know if so that's just to paint the picture. There's a sign on the outside of camp that says free breast evaluations. We're not doctors, so we don't do exams, but we're happy to tell you what we think. So if that tells you anything, like if that tells you anything about the type,
it's Wisconsin, so I mean,
yeah. And so that's what we got going on here. All the Lineys you can drink and free breast evaluations for everybody. So we push off after like a day of drinking and fishing and eating and drinking some more. We push off on Big Lake, which is the lake camp is on, and we fish Big Lake a little bit. It's northern Wisconsin, so like most of the time it's like we're going to bounce up to Go Gibbick, or we're going to bounce out to Bond Falls, or a couple lakes in the UP, or over to Duck Lake, or over to this lake or that lake. But then a lot of times that evening we'll just hit a close lake, or we'll just go right out on Big Lake where the camp is at. So we push out at Big Lake. There's crappies biting, there's walleyes biting, and I'm super in the bag, and I don't chew like hardly ever. But at fishing camp, I'll throw a dip in because it's fishing camp. And so like I'm drunk and I'm throwing some tobacco in. And have you ever chewed, Jeff?
Yeah, I've been since 7th grade. That's what
So
now you got me thinking about it. That's what I was looking for was my tin.
yeah, like now I need one of those, right?
No, like shit.
So like when you don't do it often and you throw one in, it feels like your head's gonna fly off your body.
And
Like
you're on a
that.
boat right now? Are you on a boat too?
Yeah, we're out on a boat.
Oh,
Yeah, so we like push off.
you're not a smart man,
No,
are you?
no, I mean it's like a skull pouch. It's not like I'm not like throwing
It
down a
doesn't.
wad of Copenhagen, but I got a skull pouch in.
Okay. All right.
I think I might have been there. I think two different things happened, and they kind of happened really quickly together. And there's a bunch of boats around us, like a few other boats in our crew, and then a couple other people on the lake. And at one point, I turned, like I'm in the back of the boat by the motor, and I like turned to step somewhere, and I just like fell. Like I thought there was a thing to step on, but there wasn't, and so I just like went down in the boat. But I'm like drunk, like I might as well have been high. I wasn't high, but I might as well have been because I'm like
But you
on the
feel like
floor.
it.
Yeah, because my head's about to fly off my body, and I'm drunk. Um, and I'm just like laying on the boat laughing, and the other boats are looking over and like shaking their heads and stuff. And there's three of us in the boat, me and my buddy Duke, and I think Stevers was with us, and we're just having a hell of a time. And so like my rod is laying next to me, still dangling in the water. And I'm like fighting to just get back onto my feet, right? And I sit down, and my rod starts going over the side of the boat. A huge crappie came up and like bit my line and started pulling my rod in. And despite being smashed and head floating off my body, grab the rod as it's like flipping out, swing it up, and it's like a 12, 13-inch crappie comes flying in the boat, and it just happens to be at the perfect height that it hits me in the face, and I fall back into the bottom of the boat again. And I just remember like, and like I sat up, like in triumph. Like I had just recovered, and then I got knocked back to the bottom of the boat. And Duke goes like, "What the fuck?" Like he's in my boat. Like, what the fuck? And then Dan, my buddy Steve's dad, I just hear, "Jesus Christ, Plata!" Like that was it. And then just like nothing else. That was the end of the commentary. But I was
That's why sometimes you just need to put up a GoPro and just leave it recording.
Oh God, I wish I could go back and watch it. I wish I could. But we got that crappie. It was the biggest crappie we got all night, and it just
looked like weekend of Bernie's out there catching fish.
Yeah, dude, fell on the bottom of the boat twice, caught the biggest crappie of the night. Boom.
Last week, 4th of July weekend, I did go on a boat, and we took a nice 37-foot center console out. We're on Pewaukee Lake.
Yeah.
Much too big for this lake, but it's
that's way too big of that's a Lake Michigan boat. That is not a Pewaukee.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was like, so this guy, like I said, so my sister, she's the CEO of a let's just say a automobile company. So she is different class than me, but you would never know. She's a very hungry person, but her people she hangs out with, they are the same class or more. And we went out on the boat, and there's just the guys, and so we started putzing around. And I've never been on this lake. It's it's a big lake, big enough to where I'm not worried with the size of a boat, but he has me driving it. He's like, I've been drinking since 9. I just flew in. I landed at 6 o'clock, and I got in, and my brother-in-law was like, "Hey, this is my neighbor Jason. He is weekend of Bernie's fucking hammered, but nicest guy in the world, right?" I'm just like, he's like, "You got a boat, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I got a boat. Let's go drive my boat." And I'm like,
you drive it.
I'm like, "Cool. All right, let's go." And I'm looking at my brother. I'm like, he's like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it." So it's me, these two guys, and my buddy Greg. And we go on the boat. We go to a couple dock bars, and I mean, it was the point where I was like, he's like, you know what, you dock it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to dock the boat. So we'll dock the boat. I've never driven this freaking boat before. This isn't my boat. This boat's worth probably $1.2 million. Like,
is it twin screws? Is it like dual engines on the back, or what? Like on different?
It's 4 engines. Like it was like a Midnight Express.
Well, it's got 4, but are they all on the same steering wheel, or is it like you've got different engines?
No.
That you can turn on?
I had two sets of 4, and then I had the steering wheel was all the same, but it also had the throttle for the bow thrust. And I was like, I've never used one of those.
Well, not steering wheels, but just like multiple throttles where each motor has a different throttle.
Oh, yeah.
like turn it on a dime,
Yes.
but also it takes a lot of
Right.
like what's
So
here,
you're
what's
doing one of these.
yeah,
You're doing 4 at once. And I'm like,
yeah.
do I hold on? Like, do I hold the steering wheel with my teeth and then throttle up? Like, how does this work? He's like, no, man, you just do like one at a time. I'm like, I don't know
You
this.
just forearm them. You just use your forearm, bro.
That's so many. And he goes, yeah. He goes, you just hit this button, they lock up, and you just hit it all at once. I'm like, okay, I don't know, dude. This isn't my boat. This boat costs more than my house. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. He's like, you're fine. So we stop at like 2 dock bars. You know, there's no fishing all going on this boat, but
No.
him and my brother, they've been drinking since like 9:30 in the morning because family, they're off. And so I'm trying to play catch up, me and my buddy Greg, and we're just driving around, and I'm looking at him, and I like kind of tap him, and we're just blasting music, and they're sitting up front, and I go, I don't think there's any gas in this thing. It's like, what do you mean? I go, I think this is the gas gauge. It says empty. And it's like flashing at me. He's like, oh, that's not good. I go, do you know where the dock is? And he's like, I don't know where I don't even know what lake we're on. He's like, I have no idea. And I go, I don't know either. As soon as I said, I don't know either, it goes, go boom. Just shut up. I mean, we are in the middle. That guy sobered up. That guy sobered up so quick. He goes, what'd you do? I go, I didn't do anything. And I'm like putting everything in neutral, and I turned the key off. I was like, I didn't do anything. I believe you're out of gas. And then he goes, well, that is a bad decision on my part because I did not fill up this boat. And he goes, now that we've run out of gas, I do remember not filling the boat up this morning. And I said, okay.
that
so I go, what is the plan? And he goes, we're about a quarter mile from the dock. It's right over there. And he goes, I think we're at about 4 feet. So 4 or 5 feet. So we should be able to walk it in. And I was like, oh, well, you can walk it. This guy's great. Gigantic. Yeah. So I go, you can walk it in, buddy. So after about 10 minutes of watching this guy pull this mammoth boat, I was like, oh my God, I got to get in the fucking water. Like my buddies get in the water. I'm like, just pull it in. This is going to take forever. This guy's going to drown probably. And we're just going to be sitting on $1 million boat, you know.
He's going to be dragging the boat.
Like, why? Yeah. Explain to his daughter, hey, why did my dad drown? Well, he didn't fill up the gas tank, and we made him pull it in while he's been drinking for 20 hours straight. We thought that was a good idea. So
yeah, it was
his idea.
It was his idea.
Yeah, it was his idea. So then, so it made for a good story. Then we just Uber to another dock bar after that. But it was fun.
Well, way to be
responsible. It was fun explaining why when we got home why we were all soaking wet.
Yeah. Oh, but it's just a nasty storm brewed up out there, just out on the lake. Got real nasty.
It's the little lake. Yeah.
Ed Aaron's checking in. What's up, Ed? Good to hear from you, man. Thanks for checking in. Zig Scott says, hold on. The UP is Michigan, period. This Jeff Ford character says Zig Scott. Thank you. I disagree. It's only Michigan because Ohio.
Are you from? Wait, hold on. Are you from Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Is that where you were born?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So I know where the UP belongs.
Okay, Zig, I get it now. I get it. You guys have that weird shaped state that doesn't even look like a hand. You keep saying you're the mid.
Your
hand looks like a hand that was holding a firecracker. Your state looks like a hand that was holding a firecracker, and you didn't let go in time.
That's
it's
what
like
happened.
This.
At least we have a Santa hat. Like, I'm pretty sure the UP of Michigan is fully connected to our state and is only connected to your state by just a big ass metal see-through bridge. That's pretty damn scary to be on, by the way. And I still go by this. Like, yeah, you can have the taxes from up there, which probably isn't a whole lot. But I would put money on if you polled every citizen in the UP, and I think this is the fair test. Are they a Packer fan or a Lions fan? I think there's more Packer fans up there, and therefore that to me says they're more a part of Wisconsin. That clearly is way more valid than where they pay taxes.
Where are you getting your data on any of this?
Just being up there a whole bunch. Like I've been to the UP more than either of you guys combined.
Well, it doesn't. That's true, but it doesn't help when you just bring your other Wisconsin friends up to UP and then you say all you run into is Wisconsin people.
You might have a valid pointer. Actually, here's what.
If you were really hanging out with Upers, as we call them, they wouldn't be so open to talking, probably. And
No, I mean the Upers are just like there's the salt of the earth, man. They'll talk to anybody about anything. Here's one of my favorite. This is another fishing story, but it's just not even fishing. Yeah, Ed Aarons, he knows Packer fans all over the UP, dude. It's like if you hang out,
maybe it is. I mean, I've only been there once, so
it's so northern Wisconsin. It's just hilarious. It's like the movie Fargo times 10. I mean, it's just like it's just what you expect.
Do you know what's funny? It's like I'll let you go to your fishing story, but you know when we like I'm in Maryland and they have their own stupid accent here, but I have my Michigan Canadian accent, and when we start talking Midwestern, it's like, oh, you know, hey, you know, whatever. It kind of gets a little thicker.
Yeah.
And,
I gotcha.
Yeah. Well, so the last podcast we did, me and you bullshitted, and then we bullshitted after the podcast, and then I had to go to work the next day, and they were like, why do you sound like Fargo? I was like, what are you talking about? And they were like, oh, you got your backpack on there? You going to the academy? What's the plan? I was like, is this not what I sound like? And they're like, yeah, it does. I was like, okay. I was like, maybe because I was talking about Midwestern the entire night.
we just like ramped up and got more Midwestern and turned into Fargo.
It was.
So here's what I'm saying. Zig says, I've actually been to the UP quite a lot. He's right. Unfortunately, everyone is a Packers fan.
Really?
I haven't covered the entire UP. I get up into like where the good fishing areas are, but yeah, like
why is that?
I mean, because it's just more part of Wisconsin. Because it's like the exposure's right there, right? They're like we share so much border. I think we have more border with the UP than we do with Illinois. And we hate Illinois.
100%, yeah.
Like Minnesota, we got a lot of border with. We get along pretty well, except for during football season. But like our basketball teams and our baseball teams are in different divisions. So we only have football to like dislike each other over. Otherwise, we get along pretty damn well. Illinois and Wisconsin doesn't get along super well, and the people in the UP especially hate the people in Illinois, and so then the people in the UP and Wisconsin commiserate about the people from Illinois coming up, which gets me to my next story. We're up in the UP during G-Way, during the Great Walleye Assault. We're going on a flowage called Bond Falls. The falls is pretty cool. Caught a lot of fish right out of there. This boat launch is the most obnoxious boat launch in the history of boat launches. It peaks up and then it goes back down. And there's no, it's too close. It's too close to where you go into the water that like you drive down there, you turn around, you have to drive up, and it's not like you can stop with the downhill behind you. Like you have to drive over the top of it and then back your boat back over it. So when you're backing your boat up, you don't really know where the water is or exactly where the landing is. You just feel like you're shooting your boat right to the fucking moon. It's just the weirdest feel, like because it's just going up and
look, everybody.
And like I don't know if anybody's behind me, so I'm gonna roll down the windows and say, "Look out!"
God!
So you shoot the boat to the moon. It's a wide enough launch that it's not like a huge deal. But then you got to back her down in there, and then you're fine. There's like a couple things that happened at this launch. One year was my first. This may have all happened in the same year. That was the first lake I got my boat to, and I successfully backed my boat in with the strap still on and the plug out because I just did. I was just so excited.
That's Wisconsin thing.
It's a Wisconsin thing, but I will take credit for like I got that boat in there in like 2 seconds. I didn't even have to. I just backed that shit in. I didn't even have time to think about what to do. I was just backing it up.
That's called being a man who's excited to play with his toy.
Yeah, I was just pumped. So anyway, there's a couple things happening at this landing. So we get in, we were out fishing all morning. We came in for like a shore lunch and we were going to go back out fishing. The water level was way up. So we've done a shore lunch on there before, but we did it out on a random shore. Now the water level is so high, we basically had to go back to the landing. So some guys put boats on trailers. Quite a few of us just beached it. And we're sitting by the landing, cooking brats, drinking beer, hanging out, like probably 15 of us, 20 of us, 4 or 5 boats there. And it's a funny bay that the landing is in. It's like a big flowage, and then it kind of sucks into a draw in a little channel, and then into this bay. And around the bay, the point, comes this little tiller like 14-foot aluminum, bow pointed like way up, just and the guy in the back, and like the bow's pointed up so high you can hardly see him. Like he's back there and he's going, and then you see there's a rope tied to. Then the next boat swings around. He's pulling a bigger boat. With these little tiller. And I assume they had run out of gas.
I can already picture this.
It's just, and you're just like, what is happening here? And so we're watching them, and then there's a boat behind them with like two younger dudes in it. I don't know. I'll say like upper teens, late 20s or early 20s. And they're in a pretty decent rig, and they're just like putting behind these guys, like, what the fuck's going on, right? And so these two boats like slide up into shore by the boat landing. And I feel like one of them stayed in. One of them wasn't going to get out of the water. Probably the dude in the tinner. I think the dude in the little tinner was a local and was just trying to be helpful.
Right.
The other boat was not actually much bigger, but bigger than the wing coming down the pipe. And
was it a straight John boat?
I mean, like, pretty much with like a 9.9, with like a 9.9 Johnson on it, you know. So, but I think he.
Okay, I'm trying to put the picture in my head.
Yeah, I think he was a local dude. I think the next boat was another like 14 or 16 foot, just tinner. And they let a dude out, jumped on shore to go get their truck, and I bet we didn't see him for like 5 minutes. And we're like, what? Where is he? What happened? Like, because usually you would drive down the inversion or whatever, the hill that this landing is on, then you turn and you drive back up. Well, he spun around up there, so he's trying to back his little shitty trailer with his little shitty truck, like farther back over this thing, and he crests the hill, and this trailer's at like a 45. Like, this dude has no idea how to back a trailer in.
Oh, he's gonna roll it.
Like damn near. I don't know how, like, and then I mean, and he's up there, and these two kids are like sitting, and they're just watching and waiting. And then there's like 15-20 of us just sitting and watching, like putting the pressure on, right? There's nothing worse than a bunch of people like looking at you.
There's nothing worse than that. Yeah.
And so I mean, I'll give it
your boat's broken down, right? So
15 minutes of watching this guy try to back this trailer in, and then his two buddies get out and are lifting the trailer to try to straighten it behind the truck. And he almost ran him over like twice, like multiple times. They're like trying to jimmy this thing over, and he would be in reverse, and he'd like back it up while they're holding it. And like, I don't know how somebody didn't die. I mean,
it's like every credit card captain with a jet ski trailer.
Dude, it was so embarrassing watching these guys. And so the entire outing had to be 15-20 minutes, like maybe more than that. And these kids are just sitting there like, what the fuck, you know, right? Like they're waiting. Right. My buddy's dad, the same one that said Jesus Christ Plata, he yells over to him. They finally get the boat on the trailer, and he goes, "What part of Illinois is you guys from?" And I don't think they realized it was an insult. Just one of them yells back, "Rockford." and we're just like, you know, like want to laugh, but a little bit stupefied. Like, oh, like we were making funny. Like, we didn't even know they were from Illinois. You just could tell by the way they had no idea how to work a truck and a trailer. These young kids get out, and I mean, within a minute, that trailer's in the water, dead straight. The other dude drives the boat on. They're hooked up. They're out of there, and the one guy's still in the boat. 15 of us stand up and give him a standing ovation. And he like waved his hand like he was in a parade. He was just like, "Yeah, I got this. Oh man, damn. Dibs at boat landings, dude. Dibs at boat landings in the UP.
So have you ever watched this is what we should probably start doing, honestly, is it's called Miami Boat Docks, and he calls it the greatest show on earth. It's just a fucking YouTube channel.
Like a stream of people screwing up boats.
He sits across. He started doing it himself. He sits across the boat docks. So you got 6 boat docks in Miami, and he sits over, like it comes on a peninsula, and it's just a little. He parks his car, and he just carries a camera and a tripod. He just fucking sits. He just films all day long. I mean, for like 8 hours, like at the high points when they're putting it in, when everyone comes back, you know. And you got every character you can think of. You got the people that have been doing it for years. You got the people that just bought a jet ski and they're driving a Ford Escort, to pull it.
Yeah.
And he takes all this video footage and he watches it and he just commentaries through it. It is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, I got to find a fucking boat dock and just put a camera there, go watch some houses, come back, pick up the camera when I'm done, and then just watch it. Just sit at my bar and just be like, holy shit. And then, just commentary over it. I mean, this guy, so then he has that show, and now he's got Credit Card Captain. And he's like, hey, we're back at Credit Card Captain, and this guy bought a boat with a credit card. Watch this. And the boat just crashes right in the dock, something, $2 million boat. The guy has no idea what he's doing.
I don't remember what the YouTube channel's called, but there's one in Miami where it's an inlet where the way the water flows in there, it gets super turbulent, like
where it's like super. It pulls you sideways.
Oh yeah, just watching
when everyone's trying to dock.
Oh god, yeah. It's like I can't even. I don't think I'd be skilled enough to drive a boat through some of that water. Like,
you talking about the one where you have to go through that inlet and it's got those huge waves?
Oh yeah. And like little boats are like capsizing in there.
You see the three girls that had that little freaking
the little dog
Boston Whaler?
Yeah,
the Boston Whaler. They just full throttle, just fucking with American flags going, and they call it the blue top babes or something. Like two probably like 20-year-old girls. Oh my god! And I mean they'll go straight, go 30 feet in the air, land. I mean, and they no fear. And then you got people they've never driven a boat, and they'll be in a Formula or fountain, like a 30-foot, and they'll just nosedive, shatter their windshield, like just devastation. And it is. I could sit there and watch that for 3 or 4 hours, and that's not like even be like, oh, I guess I got to do it. So like with a bar, with my bar, I was trying to get a channel for that. Like I could just play it constantly. I think it would be one of the most, like the chive or whatever, where you just watch people getting hurt in bars. I was like, just put up boat accidents, like boat docking. Like
that's perfect. That's endless entertainment.
Like Lake Havasu has one for their launch. Have you ever seen Lake Havasu's launches? Their dock or their boat. Oh, it's like straight now. And
really?
It's just straight grease. Oh my god. And so they line up all the locals. All the locals line up with fucking chairs, and they sit there, coolers, all day long, and they just watch them. Because like spring break and everything, everyone just rents a boat or whatever. And you get these guys with all these 2-wheel drive lifted F-150s or Dodges.
Oh yeah, with rear-wheel drive, and they just
they can't pull out a fucking John boat if their life's dependent on it. And so and it's hysterical because you'll just get grandma and grandpa that's like, good job, you idiot. Like, what are you it is. So look up Lake Havasu dock boat launches. It's hysterical. You see people just crashing. Oh my god. And then Miami docks. I'll have to look it up. I'll send it to you. I'll send you the link.
We were fishing by Tampa one time, and the guy we were with had a rear-wheel drive, which I'm just like, why would you have a truck and not have 4-wheel drive? I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense.
I've never understood it. I mean, why would
that's the whole, it's truck.
That's like
4-wheel drive. Why would they make it
buying an airplane without wings? Like if I bought an airplane without wings, like why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense.
Just doesn't make sense.
Having a truck.
So he had rear-wheel drive on like a Nissan Titan, and I don't know, it was a 28-footer or whatever he had.
Well, there's your answer right there. It's a Nissan Titan. So
that had something to do with the problem. But the tide was just going out, so the whole boat launch was like slick as shit. And we were there for like 5 or 10 minutes. He went through a set of tires. Like he basically just burned and burned and burned until he like melted or evaporated the water off, and then he finally got us out because he could not get off that launch. Like it was just too greasy with algae and whatever else. He just sat there spinning his tires forever. I was just like, man, 4-wheel drive. I don't get it.
I'm curious to see, like because I have a Humvee and I have a Ford Raptor. Like, I mean, the Raptor, it can pull, but it's more speed.
Yeah.
But the Humvee, I mean, it's an Allison transmission. It's only got 200 horsepower, but it's got, I don't know how many foot-pounds of torque. It's ridiculous. And it's got geared hubs in the wheels. So like
Oh, really?
the brakes are up in the center of the
Okay.
truck.
Yeah.
And then you have half shafts that come down. And then the wheels themselves have gears in them,
Gotcha.
which is cool.
Gotcha.
So, and I'm very curious because I pulled 6 tons, not winning races, but it pulls like you don't even feel it.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
it's,
With that.
you know, but I'd be curious. Every time I watch these boat dock things, I was like, I really wish I could just try it and see because it's always in 4-wheel drive. And I mean, I could put it in low, I could put it in like high low, I could put it in low, I could put, I'm sure I'd
Yeah.
be able to pull it in, but I was just wondering how it would do it. I've always been curious of like,
What is a set of tires for like an actual Humvee cost?
so it came with the military bulletproof Kevlar tires, right? So they're good tires, but they have a rating on them for expiration, and they're known to blow because and with that they can if they're under a lot of weight and wear and tear, but they also have a huge donut in it that's like a hockey puck. It's probably like that thick. And it goes all the way around. It's made so you can go at least 25 miles an hour on a full blowout. You can still just get the hell out of Dodge. You can still move it. So they're 205 pounds a piece, the tire.
Holy shit.
Compared to and they're 37s. So I mean but that's heavy as shit. Like 200
That's
pounds of tire with a wheel,
massive.
with a rim. That's really, you
Yeah.
fucking jack that up and you go to pull that off. Dude, I did that at the firehouse.
Yeah, that's weightlifting.
I literally almost shot my nut across the, I was like, I had no idea they were that heavy. I didn't think that it would any tire would be that heavy.
That's crazy.
So that was my decision. I was like, okay, I'm going to change the tire. I'm going to put aftermarket tires on this.
Yeah.
So I bought, and everyone said you should because they're lighter and it'll drive a lot better.
Well, I was just saying it makes sense for you're not in combat. You're just
right. Yeah, I'm not. I'm just I'm just washing houses and I'm driving it daily on the highway, so I probably don't need. So I bought Mickey tires that are 37s, but the problem is you have to get 12 spoke rim or 12
bolt.
Bolt rims, and then so I got Rhino rims. Between the rims and the tires, we're at $7,000.
Holy shit!
And that's with the spare, yeah. So, but I have the wheels now. I just, I mean, the tires are lasting. I'm at 2 years now, and they're plenty of tread. I mean, I probably put 40,000.
How long do those go for you?
They're going to go a while. Until I'm going to keep rotating them because they're probably 670 a piece just for the tire.
I was to say, I just got new tires on my F-150, and I was kind of surprised. Now I got to take it back,
but that's marketing. Think about it that way. So that's another thing we're talking about. Like that's marketing. So like, the whole rig is marketing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
So it's like you got to think when you're doing shit like that, it's like, well, 90. I'd say on it, in all honesty, probably like 70% of my calls are just shock value of when they see the truck. And they take a picture of it or they whatever. Hey, what do you do? And then they start talking to me about it. And that's why I got it. And I always wanted one. Yeah, it's cool. And it's badass. And I was like, well, it was a tax write-off 100% at the time because of the curb weight. But it was like, I mean, I just wanted something that I could just do whatever I wanted to and just bolt the shit out of it. I could, it's just bare bones. And it's cool as shit. And I've been driving fire trucks or whatever. So it's like, it's not hard for me to drive it. It's like driving nothing to me compared to a fire truck. People thought I was insane, but I was like, it's brought me more business. It's like the fucking koozies. Like it's brought me more business than anything else other than the koozies apparently for the last, 2 weeks. But I mean, more than Google, more than anything else.
Driving around on a Saturday, anybody that's around is going to come and see the Humvee. Got to check it out.
Right.
See what's up. See what it's all about.
I went to and I got asked to go to Touch a Truck for the kids. So I just took the truck. I took the truck and trailer there, and I had the signs up, and people were like, "Hey, what is this?" And I was like, "Here you go." Oh, and my turret arrived 2 days ago. I got my turret that came with it. The gun latch on top. Yeah. I had it capped, and the guy who did the finishing touches on it, he's like, "Hey, we're switching shops. Your turret's still here." I just never wanted to pay the shipping for it. It was like $400. The thing's actually it was like $700. because it's so heavy. And I just
Yeah.
didn't want to pay the shipping for it. He's like, "Hey, we're moving. We got to get this thing out of here." He was just he was in Chicago, and I was like, "Oh, one day I'll be in Chicago. I'll go pick it up." I
Yeah.
never was
Never
back.
were.
So he sent it over. He goes, "Hey, I'm going to send this. I'm going to send this stupid turret to your house. I'll send you the bill for the shipping." He goes, "I got to get it out because we're switching shops." And I was like, "Okay." So now I got a gigantic military turret that I somehow got to do a 3-to-1 ratchet up and get it lifted and set it on top of my truck. But it'll be cool once I get it
How
done.
heavy is it?
It's about 380 pounds.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, it's stupid heavy. Like it's
Can you
because
run some? Can you run some water through it?
we're definitely going. I'm definitely. So well, that's the problem. See, I get ideas, and then it costs me more money. So when it
Yeah.
comes to bookkeeping, this is where you start losing money.
Yeah.
But it also you got to look at what makes you money at the end. So like if we go to parade or we do something. So I had this idea is I have the gun mount on it.
Mhm.
I don't have a gun on it, but I was like, what if I put a remote control like fire nozzle on it?
Yeah.
The ones that you can control with the driver's seat.
Yeah.
24-volt, put
Spray
on
some
there, and then
water.
just run
Spray
an
some
inch
water
and a
on
half, make it permanent with a inch and a half, cut a hole in the side of the sponson on the side of the Humvee. It already has holes in the floor. I could go to the floor, and then we just hook up to a hydrant when we're at a show and or hook it straight to my tank and just flow water. I mean, it would be really cool, but it's completely useless for
it.
the
Totally useless.
what
Besides, it's cool.
unless but it'd be cool, but I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things like, okay, how far do you go with wow factor versus, okay, let's make some money
Yeah.
eventually. I always been, I'm so that was another thing I was talking with Zig and I was talking with somebody else is you always got to put back. Like, you always got, if you want your business to grow, you always got to put back in the business. Keep growing your business, right? I mean, you have to.
Got it.
And especially trying to explain that to your wife is really hard too, because when they don't see profit value after 3 years, even though you're like, I'm seeing it, but I'm using it
Yep.
and I'm building. You have to get things fixed. You have to have insurance. You have to pay. You're buying booms and you're doing all this stuff and you're buying other trailers. You're buying extra pumps. And now I have like 3 pumps on my trailer versus 1 when I started. They're $2,000 a piece without even, even used. They're, without even blinking. I just upgraded to a new soft wash system where, I got the inch or 3/4 inch valves, game changer as far as soft washing goes. But that was, $800 for the pump. That's for the new proportioner. That's, I don't know, $1,200. But I mean, it's just little things here and there, but you're making the money. So it's easy to get it. You can pay for it, but you're not pocketing anything. But you shouldn't be pocketing anything because you're still growing. But so that's where
it's such a goofy balance of, do you need the money now or is it better to get more later? And what is that trade-off? And it's so based on what your circumstances are now and what your alternatives are now. There's just no right answer for it, but it's part of the game,
that's the thing,
part of the fun.
I mean, you got it. You got to do it. And I bought another truck, and so it's not in service, but I have the Raptor, so I use that. But I want to get a skid for that. I have another trailer which I already have stored. But like I said, we said on the last podcast, I'm at that weird point where I need a warehouse. Like I need somewhere other than my garage. Like it's ridiculous to where I'm like, and Maryland's so expensive. Like I'll Facebook Marketplace, warehouse, garage for rent, warehouse for rent, shop, and it'll be $800, $400, $600, and there's huge warehouses. And then I'll click on it; it's all PA, and I'm like, oh, I mean, massive, massive warehouses, and you're like, oh, I could do more than that. I could pay more than $800, yeah, easily. Like that's what I'm paying for a barn down the street that I'm not even using. I'm just storing shit. I can't even back a trailer into it because it's down a hill, and and I'm like, oh, that'd be perfect. And then I'm like, oh, it's an hour and a half away from me. So in Maryland, or anything, a 20 by 20 garage would be, in all honesty, about $3,000 a month.
Jesus.
Without even blinking. It's so expensive in Maryland compared to Michigan, PA, Wisconsin. I mean, like I said, I was just back in Wisconsin. And I was just, you sit there You start looking at pricing and stuff. The houses are kind of expensive, but when you go to like rent something or like a warehouse or garage, it's like a dime a dozen. And you could get, I mean, the size of my house, I could get that. I could rent that.
A little more land to go around. A little more
I mean,
land to
it's
go
stupid.
around.
It's stupid. You know, I mean, Maryland is so expensive here. You know, and I mean that's why we're thinking of, you know, I'm at 18 years at the fire department. I'm gonna retire soon, so we want to move to Florida or South Carolina, or I don't know. My sister's got me going to Wisconsin now, so we'll see. But
oh, you'd be a cheesehead.
sometimes, so I don't want to tell you that because I don't want you to get too excited. I know how you guys get in Wisconsin.
We get pretty protective. We get pretty.
So, I'm driving. If I move to Wisconsin, I'm parking all my equipment. I'm just gonna get it dropped off. I'm gonna pay. I'm gonna drop it off in your driveway and be like, here.
I don't live in Wisconsin anymore. You can just drop it off.
Don't. Where you at now?
I'm over in the Twin Cities. I'm in Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota.
Right? I know.
Why do you live in Minnesota?
Because my wife is here and all my kids are here. So I gotta be here.
I mean, I was all with you in Wisconsin. I was just giving you shit, but now you're in Minnesota.
So like I moved over to Minnesota when I got out of college because the Twin Cities were close, corporate gigs, you know, and I grew up under the impression that you go to college, you get your degree, and then you go get a corporate job and you stay there for the rest of your life. That was my understanding of how the world worked. After that of like 8 years, and not like my work was awesome. One of my bosses was awesome. If I could go back and like do that again, I totally would. It was great. But I just had the itch that I had to scratch. But met Marty, my wife, and when you start having kids and your in-laws live really close, like we've looked at moving back to Wisconsin legitimately because I'd rather be in Wisconsin.
It is a pretty state. I'll give you that.
But I mean, it's just like Michigan, right?
It's like, but maybe that's where the nostalgia comes from.
Yeah, I mean, it's so similar. Minnesota's super similar. Like those three states are peas in a pot. But what's funny to me is you've got like in Michigan, you've got Detroit, and I don't know if Ann Arbor or anywhere else, and then everywhere else. In Wisconsin, you've got Milwaukee and Madison, and then everywhere else. In Minnesota, you've got Minneapolis and Duluth, and then everywhere else. And it's like the cities have their own thing going on, and then everywhere else has its own thing going on. They might as well be different governments, different taxes,
100%.
different. It's like it's insane how different people are that live in town and that are like, get me the fuck out of here. And I'm very much more get me the fuck out of here. I could give two shits about the big city. I do not like it. I don't like the way it smells. I don't like the way it costs. I don't like the way you can't trust anybody. Not for me. But we live in the suburbs of St. Paul because my in-laws are 10 minutes away. And even tonight, like Marty's out of town for 3 weeks. We were at the in-laws. I was putting some lights up for my mother-in-law. They were cooking some dinner. They were feeding the kids. They picked them up from school. So it's like, yeah, I'd love to be a couple hours out of here and just be out in the wilderness. That's my spot. But my wife works at 3M. 3M's headquartered in St. Paul. So we're close to that. At some point, I think we'll get the hell out of here. And I can run my business from anywhere as long as I got some Wi-Fi.
Where are your companies mostly based out of? The city?
What do you mean? Where
the window cleaning,
So like Kahuna window cleaning in Minneapolis is the west side of the cities, but we serve all of the Twin Cities. Right. And so when you're running a service business, it definitely does help to be around a population center. But I don't run it, right? Like we actually got bought out of Kahuna. We still have debt in it, but I don't have any equity in it anymore. I have some other investments in different parts of the country, but I'm not the operator. I never need to be there. I run Best Damn Bookkeeping. I own a stake in Higher Lead Chill and a couple other companies, but I don't need to be anywhere. Yeah. I can do it. I can do bookkeeping from a tree stand. I can do it from a boat.
Well, that's where you want to be. I mean, that's good. That's phenomenal. That's where you want to be in life. So good for you.
So it works out. But the only reason we're here is just our in-laws, the relatives. They're all here. We got 3 little kids.
Well, that's a huge thing. It's like when we moved here when the big 3 bought out in 2006. And I
Yep.
mean, we talked about this last time, and me and Scott were going to get laid off from the fire department with E-course and the economic crash. And I just said, okay, well, we're going to the East Coast somewhere because we're going to get laid off. And me and my wife were in agreement, and we ended up in Maryland. We didn't know where Maryland was. We knew it was by New York somewhere. But she does architectural design. She does very high-end building designs. Anyway, so it's been good to us, but it's a whole different world as far as pricing, and here's another thing with Maryland, everything's done by county. Is Minnesota and Wisconsin done by city still? Like everything's city by city? Like as far as government?
It's both, and it sucks. Like
Really?
some is county, some is city and county. Like we have
Really?
sales taxes all over the place, and those are so random and obscure, and like you got to know down to like the yard, which zip code / segment of the zip code you're in to know what sales tax to charge. It's a bunch of
Really?
bullshit.
Oh,
It's
I mean, Maryland is a 6%, but here, you want to talk about sales tax? Here's a good segue. So one thing I've noticed is obviously in Maryland residential, you don't have to, or with power washing in residential, there's no tax. You don't have to charge. It's called what the hell is it labeled as?
tax exempt.
It's tax exempt, but it's labeled something to where you don't have to do sales tax. Anyways, commercial you do for Maryland, but I have a lot of property management companies that I'm on their vendor list and they use me. So, but they just essentially 1099 me. Well, not 1099 me, but I give them my estimate because they're giving a different price than what I give them because they're getting commission and they add the tax on. So that's nice because that's a big headache that's out of, I don't have to worry about. And then it's just done.
They deal with the end customer and charge
It's all
tax.
in the end. Exactly. And then when I do my taxes, I don't own anything on that, which is nice because it's already paid for through them, which is awesome.
Yep.
But I have had, when I was trying to transition to my LLC in Florida for wintertime, that is turning into a big headache. So I'm trying to figure that out right now. Remember, I think we were talking about that. Remember?
Yeah, setting up businesses in other states is just a pain to figure out. They're all so different from like how they do taxes and the websites you need to go to, and like make sure you set this up, and then you got to set that up, and then you take this number and you got to go set that up and plug it in over there.
It is a nightmare of trying to figure out.
Secret handshake that you got to know. It's the weirdest thing that
they
can't.
And Florida's, it doesn't. The thing that scares me is it was the transition, because I tried doing Wisconsin because my brother and sister are there, but they also own a house in Florida. And I was like, and my parents are in Florida. So I'm like, all right, let's start with Florida because it's a tax-free state. So let's start there. So doing my transfer, it's not a transfer of an LLC, it's adding your LLC to another. I can't remember the verbiage right now, but to transfer your LLC to Florida.
Yeah,
as almost like a chapter, Freedom Exterior chapter in Florida, whatever,
So, yeah, like some sort of tax extension. Basically,
it costs like $500, and then and I had to get proof of what I have to. Well, obviously send my insurance and everything, and then get proof of my LLC establishment in Florida, and then it was done. And then a lot of my property management companies that I work with here are nationwide, and they have a chapter in Florida. So then they forwarded me on to their people in Florida. And I was like, hey, look, if you have commercial business in the winter months that are worth my time to ship everything out there and go out there for 2 weeks and do a big commercial job, like, all right, great. I mean, it's extra money and we make vacation out of it. I have family there. It was easy. Wisconsin was a freaking nightmare it got so complicated that I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to screw something up. I'm going to end up owing a ton of money because I'm not going to send in, because they wanted it like monthly. Like even if I wasn't working a job, I had to pay. Like it was a nightmare. So I was just like, whatever, I'm not even gonna try.
I have found, I mean, like California is the worst. When we hired employees in California, and it's like it's absurd all of the hoops you need to jump through and the taxes you need to pay to just even have a business license there, and then they like hit you with other taxes that you would.
Well, especially if you buy vehicles or anything like that, you have your tax. My cousin bought a boat in California. He's lived there his whole life, and he was trying to explain to me, and I'm sorry for not remembering the verbiage for it, but he paid taxes. He bought a brand new bass boat from a boat dealer, and then he had to pay a ownership tax for that boat, and he owed whatever their tax was. Let's say it's 6%. I don't know, whatever it was. They 6% of the
blue, probably like 16%.
Okay, let's say 16% of the blue book of that boat. And he's like, and they came back. He bought the boat for, let's say, $60,000.
Yeah.
When they went to charge him for his taxes, they did 16% of $60,000 or $70,000. And he's like, that's not what I bought the boat for. Like, I bought it from the dealership. And they're like, well, the blue book on this boat is 70. That's what we're coming up with. He's like, but I bought it from the dealership in California.
I paid 60 for
60. And they're like, sorry, not sorry. And he's like, I was like, and you paid that? Like, I don't understand like how that works. He goes, you have to do it. I'm like, all right, I will never move to California. If that's no. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was like, I don't know. I mean, it was
man, it's absurd.
So anyways, Trump almost got shot.
Dude, that was weird. We'll finish on this discussion because I think it's just super interesting. When Trump got elected last time, I had made the comment to my wife. I was, and this isn't a knock on him. This isn't a knock on anything political other than I feel like our country is getting more and more divided. And I don't think we actually are. I think it's just fucking social media. And I'll save my complaints about the asshole that was giving me a hard time on social media. He was just doing all the things that idiots do on social media. And I was just like I just feel sorry for him. Like I kind of want to defend myself, but it's just not even worthwhile because anybody that reads it,
do you feel sorry or sorry?
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my accent. Because they're gonna make fun of me when I go to work.
You are gonna get made fun of. Sorry about that.
I'm so sorry.
So sorry about that. But it was like really frustrating, and I was just like, he's just upset dude that probably has a lot of problems, and so he's trying to take it out on me because he's like it was a weird interaction. I'll hit it on my radio show tomorrow for anybody that wants to hear it. It'll come out. But I had
bringing your politics on your radio show is always a great idea.
I mean, it's just fun. It's just fun.
I don't know if I can handle it, but I like it. I'm good.
But I had said when Trump first got elected, I was like, man, I just feel like he's the most assassinatable president. Not to say anything about our Secret Service, not to say, well, it is saying something about Trump. Yeah. He just doesn't give a fuck. And it's like there's things that drive me nuts about him. I do like that he says what he's going to do and he does what he says. And that is very unlike any politician I've ever ran into. And so I appreciate that. I don't always I hate that he fucking tweets because he's just such a piece of shit when he does it.
He's poked.
Yeah. Like I just wish he would.
I mean, he's a shit star because, but I mean,
he's totally a shit star.
I mean, but he also, he's a poker. He's a shit star, but he backs it up. I mean,
he does.
Yeah, the way he explains it is obnoxious and whatever else. But when you really look at the data, you're like, he's like,
I don't. It's not the way I'd approach it. He definitely doesn't approach it the way I'd approach it, which he doesn't need to because I ain't gonna run for fucking president. And actually, I think that's the one thing that's disappointing to me is I'm just like, okay, I get like Biden is unfit. I don't even care if you're like the most liberal person in the world. Like you can't watch this guy walk around and be like, yeah, let's vote for this feller. It's just like he's so unfit.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's kind of like sad. It's a little bit embarrassing as a country. Like I hope but honestly, like Trump too, I'm just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You guys are like pushing your 80s. Go sit on a lakeshore somewhere and retire. You have no business running a country right now.
But that's the other thing with Trump. I mean, like props to him because he doesn't need to do this shit. Like he doesn't need to be involved.
He doesn't need the money.
But he sees the disaster that's unfolding, and he's like, you know what? Like, I think I can help because America is a business. Period. It's always been a business.
Oh yeah, it's a huge business.
It's not. It's. I mean, when we started it, you know, when we colonized it, yeah, it wasn't a business. It was trying to get away from the corruption, essentially, of the king and queen, whatever. But now, yes, it is. It needs to be run like a business, and that's why I think he was so successful as a president when he was there. I'm trying to explain, you know, to someone else in my house, you know, who doesn't follow politics or whatever, and doesn't really look at deferred. Like I have a deferred comp in the fire department, and she has her 401k and everything else, and we don't talk about religion, we don't talk about politics, and we very rarely talk about finances. But you know, we pay everything, and we just kind of keep it at that because whatever. And happy marriage starts with agreements on, you know,
the
wife being happy. So
peace over justice was a good line I had heard once. Was peace over justice.
100%.
Don't try to be right. Seek peace.
Absolutely. Just say I'm sorry and say yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Moving on.
And so, you know, and one night we got into it, and I was like, I go, you know, I'm not a politician. I can't just spit out facts. Like I'm not that guy. But I will say, here's my deferred comp when Obama was president, and here's my deferred comp 3 years with Trump as president, and here's my deferred comp now. You know, I go, you seeing any change, or you seeing a spike of where we made a lot of money versus where, you know, and I go, and then even pulled, I go, look at, here's when I started my business with Trump in office. Here's what I was charging. Here's what I'm charging now. Like it's a significant drop off as far as my rates per square foot, because people are struggling elsewhere to where they don't want to pay because it's like being in the 80s. Like if it was, I feel the best comparison when like Trump was in, it was 1985. Everyone's in fucking DeLoreans, and you know, cocaine's running rampant. Everyone's happy. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it was just like, let's go out. Money's not a problem, you know? And then it was like, and Biden got elected, and we're like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, what, do I have money for groceries? I need milk. I don't know. I mean,
it's a funny certainty thing, right? Like, especially inflation, like the inflation that kind of got caused with some of the stuff Biden did early. And actually, I think, I don't think Trump's not to blame for any of it. And I don't think it was a Trump thing. I think it's just a politic thing where COVID happened and they gave so much money, right? Like, and so it just caused all this inflation to happen. And so that type of uncertainty that comes from it, like the uncertainty is what gives people a problem. If people knew prices were going to go up 10% a year, we'd all be fine. We would just do that. And everybody would be fine with it. And we just do it. 100%. But when you don't know what's going to happen, and the same thing happens in business, right? Like when we know something's going to happen and something's going to suck, we just power through it. When it happens unexpected, it's like, what? Like I had two employees
not only unexpected, but almost immediately. Like it's like you blinked and you're like, wait, what am I paying now? Like what the fuck happened?
I just had a realization back to talking about whether my wife really loves me or not and why she lets me go on fishing stuff. It's the unexpectedness, right? If I know what to expect, it's totally fine if Dan goes on all the hunting and fishing trips in the world. It's when it happens unexpectedly that it's a pain in the ass. Now I totally get it. I just had to put it in economic terms.
See, it's funny. Sometimes we need to sit and talk on a podcast and realize, oh man, I was wrong. She was right. Or now I get it. Like, or when she says, yeah, no, I'm not mad. And you're like, okay, good. All right, well, I'm going to go on this fishing trip. And you're like, and then you get on the fishing trip, you're like, I think she's going to kill me. Like when I get, like she's not answering. She's not answering the phone.
The one thing that's out of my control in those cases is how happy she is. And if she's like, okay with the fact that she let me go is always 99% dictated by how the kids behave. If the kids are fine and she has help, I'm fine. If the kids are shitheads and she doesn't have help, I'm in trouble. That's what's up.
I mean, yeah. So, okay.
So here's the question. I still think Trump is like the most assassinatable president because he's just like, he's just going to poke. Right. I'm not I'm like,
But why? But why? But well, here's the thing. So why is he though? Well, why is he? Why are people so triggered by it?
Because he's offensive, right? Like he's short and he's offensive and he doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
There's no, he doesn't
But that's
like
how the world. But that's how the world works.
Oh, I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm just saying it's a problem to other people, right? Which is why he's a high likelihood of getting assassinated.
Right.
Nobody's going to assassinate Biden because they think he's going to die tomorrow anyway. Like, why assassinate him? The dude can hardly walk. That'd be like shooting somebody in the back. It's just not going to happen. What was the thing? Remember GoldenEye back on the N64? Yeah. Most dishonorable.
Do I remember it?
Yeah. Shit. You were probably the dude playing with. You were the dude playing with two controllers, like one on different screens, and you'd still blow everybody up. Yes. I had a buddy like that. Yeah, you get most dishonorable if you assassinated him. So I'm like not surprised by the assassination attempt. I'm thankful that they missed.
Absolutely.
I had made a post, and then some like. Some weird liberal person came in and was like, oh, you just got all weird on me. And I was just like, oh my God, I hate social media. But I had just said like, man, and I'm not like honestly, like I vote independent most of the time because I just think our two-party system sucks right now. I actually feel like they have an oligopoly and they're all playing us. I feel like they're all in cahoots together because they're all just going to keep trading spots every 4 to 8 years. We're just going to switch sides. And nobody's in for us. They're just going to keep insider trading and making more money for themselves. And we're all just going to like keep scrambling.
Well, I feel like that's what it was. That's what was happening for a long time. And then did you see the app that came out for the stocks that only you enter in your stocks and it follows Nancy Pelosi's her trades? Did you hear about that? It got shut down. It got shut down. You could pay, so you could enter this app.
How could they shut that down? That's like total freedom of speech type of stuff.
Oh, well.
I mean, I guess it is.
Think about it. So you would enter in your information and you say, I have $1,000 for whatever. Whenever she buys something, I want this percentage of whatever trade she's doing. Of my money in my bank account.
I know she's inside as fuck.
Then whenever she pulls out, it pulls out automatically. It does it for you automatically. And people were making money hands over fist. And it lasted like a month and a half. Like people were
shut that down? What's illegal about that? What if they'd followed you or I's trades?
Shocker. I know. I mean,
right. But exactly. Nancy gets to trade, but we can't trade off of her trades.
It's like, why? I mean, that's not insider trading. I'm just following. It'd be like me following your trades. Like, okay, like the guy gets it, so I'll do whatever he does. So why can't I do whatever she does? You know why?
Here's who I'm following.
Shit's corrupt.
I'm following Teresa McConnell. Whatever trade Teresa McConnell does, I'm in.
I'm in too.
Teresa,
we're in.
Way to crank it up. Way to crank it up.
I got a lot of money because I just lost $2,000 on a surface cleaner that I broke.
Yeah, that surface cleaner. Yeah. That 2,000 won't get invested, but some other money.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a good idea. It was good. Well, lesson.
No, it's going to be interesting watching this election. I don't know, and this is just me. I'm trying to be like.
I think he made it. I think he made it. All right, just from that assassination, he's set. He's going to be.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way the Democrats win this election unless they do officially like successfully assassinate him. The gal, like the one gal that commented on my post, and again, like I'm impartial. I just don't. I'm not a huge fan of anybody. But my point was, man, if you're like a hardcore Democrat, this sucks for you because like your candidate can't put a sentence together, and like you just tried to wipe out the other guy. And he lived, which is gonna like give him more.
And the best part is he lived because of his mannerisms. Because when he talks, he's like, "Hey," and then he went like that, like, "Yeah, I am bad at it." Fucking this, like,
yeah.
Oh, I mean, fucking, and then I mean, so back to what we were saying. With as soon as I found out that happened, someone texted me, and I built my bar back. So we're doing a full transition here. My bar is just But we're going back to the assassination. So I saw the picture, and he's like that, and he's got blood
coming off his ear.
Immediately took a screenshot and sent it to the same company that I bought these not koozies, but these
the coasters.
Bar thing. Yeah, and the coasters, and bought a 24 by 38 whatever framed picture of it for my bar because I was like, I have this big empty wall that has nothing on it. I didn't know what to do.
Bar picture, man. That's
oh
perfect.
My God. I think that would be, I mean,
60 years from now, that's going to be just
like
that.
It was $100 with a wood black frame. I'm like, okay, fuck it. Like, so there it is. Like,
the frame costs that much.
Yeah, I was like, all right, send it. Like, and then I sent it. I texted my brother, and I was like, hey, look what I bought. He goes, yeah. He goes, I want one. Send me the bill. I'll pay for both of them. Just send it. And he's in, Pewaukee, Wisconsin. So now I send him one.
Do you think? And again, I think like I'm unbiased because I don't have like a horse in this race. Part of me wonders, should we just skip the election and just give it to Trump and save everybody the time and money of like dealing with elections and all that stuff? Should we just like fast track it and just be like, look, dude has survived an assassination. If Biden's the one running against him, and again, like I don't have a horse in the race. I don't like it.
This is our only choices.
Like, just Biden can't. He just can't even. He can't. I'm more qualified.
I mean,
I can hardly do a good podcast, and I'm more qualified.
Like I said it before. It's Weekend at Bernie's. They're literally tying their laces to him and holding himself up by his fucking.
Like they can't actually run him, can they? Like
they're gonna try. I mean, they're gonna try everything they can because they don't have anyone else. Who else are they gonna?
I don't know. There's got to be some RFK Jr. He would be valid.
Did you hear? So here's the RFK. Did you see? They're not giving him any Secret Service.
They're not giving it. Like Biden's trying to out him. Biden's trying to like stonewall him.
I was like, if anyone deserves Secret Service duties, might be the guy that had two family members assassinated.
Kennedy. Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why would you not?
I'm really intrigued by RFK because he's a total free market guy. He's like, no government. Let's get the government out of everything. Right. And I'm just like, I like the idea.
He's 1985 with a Lambo. He's going, fucking, let's go. Let's fucking make some money. Let's have some fun. And let everyone be happy.
I listened to him on a podcast, and it was really interesting because again, like I don't like our two-party system. I get why it is what it is. I get why we built it the way we built it. It served us so well for so long. I appreciate it to the end of time. Like our country's fucking great, but it's not working anymore. It's hard to look at what's going on and be like, this is super cool. We're crushing it. We're great.
We're nailing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and so I think there's probably a better way.
And then you got Canada, but think about it. Then you got Canada. Think how fucked up Canada is.
Right. Right.
So it's like, every time we want to look at our system, we're like, and then you look at Canada and their prime minister and what he did. You're like, oh, maybe
you look at everywhere else. Well, and I think it's, I don't know how to fix this, which is the same problem that happens at a micro level with HOA presidents, which is
power.
They're people with no skills that want power, and they just treat you like you're a piece of shit because they want power, and that's what they're in it for. They're not there to help.
And they're the people that have never had an opportunity to feel power.
Yeah, they don't have the skills to gain power, and so they get into a powerful position because nobody else wants it, right? And I feel like in some cases, which is bad. This is a bad thing, but I feel like this happens. I feel like this happens in our politics today, which is we don't have the best people in the country vying to run for president. The best people in the country would never want to put their hat in that ring because that would be fucking miserable. Like, why would anybody want that job? Trump is crazy enough. And I think there's a lot of politicians that are like dishonest enough or power hungry enough that they would want it. Trump's just the weirdo that he's like legit. I mean, he is power hungry too, but he's also just like crazy enough, like you said, like he's the one person that's like, nope, I don't like it. And I have all the money I'd ever need. So let's just go for it. And I don't
need a campaign if I don't want to. Like, I mean, I don't have to ask for money. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when he says, he goes, all these people were my best friends before I ran because they wanted his money. And then as soon as you ran, they're like, oh, fuck you. And it's
which says
like,
everything.
What happened?
Which says everything about it, right?
And that's
it's not about helping people. The whole reason our government was set up was to help our citizens, and it's just not about helping people anymore.
And I think honestly, maybe he always knew that, but he didn't really believe it until it happened to him. And then he was like, oh, fuck you. Okay. Yeah. I see. It's like, worse than I thought. It's worse. And then it's the fucking Epstein Island bullshit and fucking everything else. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is, you know what? Fucking maybe I am Batman. I got to go do some shit, but politically. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I
It's
just,
crazy.
I mean, good for him. Like I said, I mean, he's got my vote. I mean, just because of hurt feelings. I mean, I live in a world where being a fireman, it's like the world's ugly. The world is a fucking ugly place, and a lot of people are very guarded about
Oh
what
yeah.
happens. You know, it's not rainbows and unicorns like everyone. A lot of people want to believe, not everyone,
Hey,
but
it is at Best Damn Bookkeeping. If you need some bookkeeping help, just hit that QR code. It's all right over here. Rainbows and unicorns. Right here, baby.
there you go.
Other than
And
that, though, this world sucks.
so all right, next thing. How long until we start a civil war? Do you think that's going to happen, or do you think it would just go straight to World War III?
I don't know. I don't know which one will come first, but I bet in our lifetime one of them will happen.
I think if a civil war started, World War III would start soon after, because everyone's going to
You
sit
think if
back.
we went to war against ourselves, the rest of the world would join in and pick teams and come
Well,
invade us and try to fuck everything up?
because it's an opening. You got to think it's an opening, because you're going to have somebody come in and be
We'd
like, hey,
distracted. Yeah.
let's say it's north and south again, whatever. It's probably going to be east and west, but I bet you somebody's going to come to the east and be like, hey, look,
I think it's going to be central versus coasts. I could see like interior versus
that'd be a
city.
good fight, central versus coast, but I don't know.
I just picture like the same thing we were talking about earlier, like the disagreement between all of Wisconsin and Madison, Milwaukee. That's the difference, right? It's like
is mine. That Michigan.
yeah, we're gonna no, the UP's gonna join. The UP's gonna join like the rest of Michigan
Right.
and Minnesota and Wisconsin and the UP.
Can we leave Ohio out of it? Ohio's so
yeah, we'll leave Ohio out of it for now.
Thank you. All right.
But even Illinois, and I say Illinois on purpose. If you're from
why
Illinois, because it drives them nuts. It's great. It's the same reason when my kids get a little bit older and they think they're cool, I'm going to say everything that they say a little bit wrong just to drive them really fucking crazy.
You say sodas.
Right. Soda. But even in Illinois, like everybody dislikes Chicago. Anybody that's in Illinois dislikes Rockford and Chicago, right? Anybody that's in Wisconsin dislikes Madison, Milwaukee. Anybody that's in Minnesota dislikes the Twin Cities. And so you just get this like weird fraction. It's like Hunger Games type of shit where like the people in the big cities are hoity-toity and weird, and then everybody else is like, no, we're just like farming and growing food for all you guys, and we're working hard, and you guys are just trying to tax the fuck out of everybody.
But we know how to live off the land, and we have, armory. And I think the central would just devastate anybody. I mean,
but yeah, so I don't know what it would look like. So I don't even know if a civil war happened, but I see that's where the fraction happens, right? Like it's the big city versus it's urban versus rural fractioning. It's not south versus north. I don't think it's not east versus west. That was back in the 90s. That was Snoop Dogg versus Puff Daddy. That was the east versus west battle.
Might come back. I don't know.
Yeah, this is a weird like rural versus urban like political battle in a funny way.
Well, how would that work? So how do you think it would work? And we're completely off fucking topic at this point, but how do you think it would work as far as our government if it broke out? Like where's the government stand? Well, if you were serving as the military, like what would you do? You're like, okay, Civil War broke out. You're from fucking Wisconsin. Your best friend now that you've gone to war with is from fucking New York or whatever. And you're like, okay, what do we do? Like, are we going to listen to the orders of our government, or are we just going to break off? And then
I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to northern Wisconsin, and I'm living on a lake in the woods, killing shit and eating it. And I'm just going to do that.
We're going to go straight Red Dawn. That's what I'm doing. I'm getting the hell out of Maryland. I can tell you that immediately.
Yeah, I'm going to go live on the woods.
I don't even have a house in Maryland or Michigan anymore, but I know enough friends, or I'm heading up north.
Yeah, going up north. I'm getting out of
East Taos. I bet you Perch Fest will still be going on. So
Perch Fest that ain't going anywhere.
I mean, you can have explosions happening around you. You'd be like, hey, where's the beer tent? This
is going like so far off topic, and this is just me like pontificating. I have no idea this isn't like a vote of mine. But I feel like the war would happen in the city, kind of like it already has, right? Like
it's like a zombie movie, like a zombie apocalypse. Yeah. It always starts in the city.
The war's not going to happen in the north woods of Minnesota, up on Red Lake, out on the ice, right? It's gonna happen in the big city where like the social unrest happens. That's where the conflict happens, and that for like that's actually the main reason I want to like get out of town is like, if you're getting shit stolen, it's probably because you're in there, right? If you're like, if things are unsafe, you're in just a bad spot and like in town. And that's the thing. I like, my buddy had like shit stolen from their house. They had people follow. They had a car follow his wife and their kids into their driveway. They were going to steal her car out of their garage. And it's just like, he moved 45 miles or 45 minutes out of town. Like the next week they found a house and moved.
Oh yeah. I would too, yeah.
But
where was
so
that? What city was that in?
Just kind of by me. He's
okay.
20 minutes from me. But he's in just a worst part of town.
Right.
They just haven't made their way to me yet. But it's like it stems in the big cities, right? And not that bad shit doesn't happen in small towns, but if it does, you know who did it because y'all know each other. Not that there's not weirdos out there too, but just in like a big city, there's a lack of trust because
Wisconsin has the highest rate of serial killers out of every state.
Oh yeah, there's a shitload of weirdos, right? There's a shitload of weirdos, and they're not from the big city. They're from out in the middle of nowhere. They're from out in the middle of nowhere.
They got too much time to think.
Yeah, that's it. And they don't have to try to fit in.
They have podcasts with headphones.
Look, I'm not saying I'm voting for either. I feel more comfortable out in the middle of the woods. Maybe I'm a serial killer. I don't know. I feel more comfortable out in the middle of the woods. And I expect that if there was a civil war, it would happen in the cities because it's not a city. Yeah, it's not a South versus North war, right? It's not an East versus West thing. It's like a rural versus urban thing. I don't know how the hell that would play out. But here's the thing that I think, Jeff, we're going to end it on this. If it actually did take place in our lifetime, if there was like a weird civil war thing that popped up, I think it would be very political. Right. And so I don't know how a political war like that gets carried out, but that's what I think that would be the stem of it. And I think social media would have a whole lot to do with it because that's the driver of the segregation of our politics. And that's where I think the two-party system doesn't work anymore because of that.
Because of social media, 100%. Yes.
I don't know. I don't have a solution for what
you have too much influence. You have too much false influence, and
it's just like this crazy wedge of like wild theories, right?
Yes,
and just finger pointing, and it's too easy to finger point when it's the way that it is. I don't know what the right answer is, but it's not great with social media. But here's what would happen if a civil war broke out. And then somebody tried to attack the U.S., it would be like if you tried to, like, there's a redneck family. Here's the analogy that I'm picturing. There's a redneck family, and like this person is at odds with this person because they took this, and then the dad died, and they got this 40, but they didn't get that 40, and they put their tree stand right on the property line, and you're not supposed to do that. And so there's like this family feud, right? But then if anybody started shit with that family, they'd all be like,
joins in.
Yeah, like it would bring us all right back together.
That's exactly without even doubting that. Like not even for a second. It would be like
the war is done. Let's go fuck their asses.
Fighting, and then all of a sudden, like let's say fucking whatever, Russia was like, hey, they started parachuting in. Everyone would be like, look at these idiots. Like
not in our family war.
Hey, Baltimore, let's go. Here. Like, this is our bullshit. We'll deal with this later. We're on pause. I think the whole country would be like, everyone stop. Look at that. All right, let's go. Let's go finish this, and we'll come back to this later.
We're gonna come back to
the American way.
We gotta go do that.
If there was ever an American way of doing anything, that is our define America would be like, oh wait, no, you're not. Wait, what the fuck? And then everyone would just destroy them, and then come back and be like, you know what?
All right, where were we?
I'm exhausted. Where were we?
We're fine. We're fine.
Okay, fucking let Biden walk across the stage and talk stupid. Oh, whatever. We had it pretty good.
It's a good run. So, hey, let's finish on this one. We're only like 2.5 hours in, so we should probably wrap this baby up. Let's finish on this one. If you Wisconsin, Michigan, Florida, heads or tails, or whatever, if a coin had three sides, I don't know if it was heads and tails or whatever the third one would be. What would you pick if you had to pick like right now? Where would you go?
As far as just moving? Yeah. No civil war. We gotta give details. Okay.
How about one answer if there is a civil war, one answer if there's not a civil war?
Civil war, I'd go to It'd be a mix between Michigan and Wisconsin. Michigan, I know better.
Yeah.
But I know the land better. I know where to go. I know people like Wisconsin. I just know my family that moved there 15 years ago, but they're in the like the neighborhood where the purge would start. Like, I mean, they're like in the Home
Yeah.
Alone neighborhood type,
Yeah.
As
See,
far as
all I know about Wisconsin is like up north, there's more people with more guns.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
and
it's
if
just like Michigan, yeah. I mean,
anybody comes
Wisconsin, Michigan almost
tried to
identical.
take, yeah, if like anybody tried to come and take those guns, it ain't gonna go well.
It'd be a
It's not
disaster.
gonna, it's gonna be bad.
Well, like I've always thought, so like we've done a lot of training, and I work on the DC line, and as a fireman, and we have a metro that runs, and we've had a lot of terrorist stuff, and with Secret Service comes, we've had the FBI come, give us information, and I'll be brief about stuff like that, but because whenever there's a red alert, they'll actually come. They'll do a hey, just adds up, because we have so many metros underground. They're worried about nuclear attacks because DC, and or a chemical attack or whatever. So we do a lot of training for that, and we've had multiple instances where it's been kind of a red alert thing. All I know is twice now since I've been there, I've told my wife, like, hey, just start heading to Michigan. Just go up to the lake house. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I don't know where else to send you, but just I know you know where you're going. Just get to Detroit, go past Detroit, and just head up north. Go to your cabin or go to my cabin. I don't give a shit. I don't care if anyone's not there. Just take your kid and go. Like, that's the plan. Like, I'll meet you there. So as far as that, I would probably go. If it was chaos or war, it's Michigan or Wisconsin. As far as retirement or just moving, if I had to move right now, I would probably, I don't know. That's a good question, because I always said Florida.
Florida sounds hot. It was 115
until I you know how hot Humvees are. So I experienced it today, and I was like, I called my dad, and I was like, hey, how hot is it there? And he goes, you don't sound too good. I was like, no, I'm dying. It is like 115 degrees, probably 120 inside the truck. I go, and he's just like, the truck, the fans never shut off. It's just like, wow, and I have no insulation. And he's like, yeah, it's like 120 degrees here. We haven't left the house. Like, and I was like, oh, I love Florida, but I'm like, I'd probably do South Carolina before I do Florida, because it's a little milder, and there's not a big industry with soft washing there. From what I've heard, like from what I followed, it's not. I don't know why, but I mean,
I know quite a few people in there doing this.
I mean, there is, but not like Florida. Like Florida, I mean,
Florida's bonkers, dude.
Like my parents fucking they have a 2,000 square foot house. They're like, I paid $89 for my lanai and my entire house and my driveway. I'm like, what? They're like, what would you charge? I was like, I don't know, like $600. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah. I go, one, it's stucco. Two, it's covered in fucking algae because you're in Florida. I go, and your whole like inside pool lanai, like they did that too for $100. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm not bringing the business, Florida. If that's
not happening.
That's great. That's not even working. That's not even the whole premise of this. Like, the industry is that's just like, I don't know how to explain that. That's like, you're not making any money at that point. I mean, how much is
how long you stay in business? I don't know how long you stay.
I don't know how they do that. I mean, it's like, I stopped. We were there visiting. They're in the villages, right? And it's all retirement community. And I stopped. This guy had a nice rig, just standard like Dodge Ram. He had a nice trailer, and I took a picture of it, and I blasted his company on. I was like, good for you, but after I did that, I stopped and talked to him. I was like, I go, what are you charging for this? He's like, I think it was like 110, and it was like a 2,200 square foot house, 2-story, and he was doing like all the pavers. And I was like, dude, how much is your SH? Like, how much are you paying on gallon? I'm just curious. He was like, oh my, his SH cost, I think was like $6 a gallon. And I was like, yeah, it's like kind of a little lower than what I paid. But I'm like, I go, you're using a shit ton of it. Like, I go, are you even making money? He's like, no, well, I mean, yeah, but I can't. He's like, the biggest thing that he said, he's like, I can't put more into my business because he doesn't have the extra money to grow.
Yeah, he's not scaling.
Not even close. Not even close. He's like, he goes, it's just a side gig. And I'm like, I go, well, I mean, okay.
Raise your prices, dude.
I go, why don't you get on? I go, this is the Villages. I go, why don't you try and get on the vendor list for the Villages? And they use you, and you could do the whole thing. It's 22 miles long. You can do all the curves, all the. And he was like, well, I never thought of that. I'm like, yeah, that's where you make the money because it's so oversaturated in Florida with companies, and so I don't know. I just think Florida would be a very hard transition to kind of get into. So if I had to move because of the business or whatever, I'd probably go to Wisconsin. Honestly, you got bigger homes. I mean, honestly, you get bigger homes. It's not as saturated. I like it, but I don't like the season.
You can only wash for like 6-7 months.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, even here, I can wash all year long, but like it never gets below probably 30 here. So I don't ever have to winterize anything, which is nice. I just put a space here in the garage. It's fine. Yeah. But I can do a lot of my commercial jobs that I have contracts with that are like cement cleaning. That it's every month. It's a shopping center, and I'll just pick a day that it's above 40 degrees, and we'll just whatever degrease it, and do it, and it works. I mean, it keeps a little bit of a steady income, which is good. Yeah, Wisconsin, Michigan, you're just not doing that.
You get 6 months washing.
It could freeze. Yeah, it could freeze while you're in the middle of.
Oh, we've like ice cubed a house in April. We have ice cubed a house in April and in October. And in October.
See, I don't know. I mean,
did a skating rink before. Super fun. You just go sliding around. It's great.
All right, the house prices. Go ahead. We'll end it. We've been here for like 6 hours.
Yeah, we're at 2.5. It's got to be past the damn almost midnight.
I don't think we have any followers left.
No, everybody else went to bed. We're just up here BSing, which is the whole point of the show, is for us to hang out and BS, and if everybody else wants to hang out with it. But the point is, you and I catching up, drink some.
I gotta get one of your spotlights. I'm really dark in here.
You are a little dark in there. I don't have a spotlight. I just got 2 big ass monitors, and so they're getting me. And then I got just natural lighting.
The problem is, all I have is these fucking Edison bulbs.
Well, I mean, it is a bar, so it's probably good that it's soft lighting for you.
Yeah, it's soft lighting, but
you're in a bar.
Yeah, I mean, no, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I was scrambling, so I fell asleep in the lazy boy, and then my wife woke me up at 8 o'clock, and she was like, "Hey, it's gonna rain," and I was like, and that's when I backed in and ruined my surface cleaner, and I was like, "What time is it?"
Oh, you're in a haze. You're in a sleep haze yet?
Oh, yes. And she's like, "Oh, it's 8:30." I was like, 8:30. I was like, I got to get on with Dan in like 20 minutes. I don't even know where my laptop is. I don't even know if it's got battery power.
Scramble.
So I'm scrambling around trying, and then I opened the computer. Yeah, I opened the computer, and it was like update needed, and it just started doing it. And I'm like, oh Christ! Like I go, Vicky, do you have your laptop? And she's like, yeah. I was like, all right, well, let me see how long this is gonna take. I came down in like 10 minutes. It said you're at 3%, like upload.
Oh, no.
Like, oh fuck. So. Yeah. So I started with hers, and then mine just turned on. I don't want to touch her. She has it's like a $10,000 laptop, and I was like, I'm gonna get on with you, and somebody will. Yeah.
You're gonna back that laptop into the garage and bend it all up and all kinds of
stuff. I would spill my drink on it, and then
that would happen more likely. When you're backing up, then you bend it, spill the drink on it, shit goes off the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jeff,
before we go, look at.
Yeah, hit. What you got?
See that deer?
Yeah, that's nice.
Like that? I didn't shoot it. I stole it from my buddy's cabin.
That's perfect. Acquire that.
When I was in Michigan, he was sleeping and I had to leave. I stole it off the wall.
Some wrangled up taxidermy.
He goes. He was so pissed. He was like, he didn't even notice it. And then I was FaceTiming as I was building this bar, and I'm showing around. He's like, "Hey, go back." I was like, he goes, that's my fucking deer. I go, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, that's right. He goes, it's missing an antler. That's my deer. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, so he happened to be up at his cabin, and he's like, motherfucker, the deer's. He goes, when did you take that? I was like 2 years ago. He's
that's
like,
great.
Shit.
That's fucking great.
So now it's staying for sure. I'm not even bringing it back because now he's like, well,
now it's like
that makes a great story.
Yeah. Go shoot another buck, man. This one's mine. Statute of limitations. If you have missing taxidermy for a year and you don't notice it,
mine.
Change hands, baby.
100%.
Change hands.
I'm gonna make a plaque that says Jeff Ford shot this deer
Yeah.
in Maryland in Baltimore.
In downtown Baltimore.
Yeah.
Shot it with a slingshot.
Yeah, exactly.
Right in the eyeball. Knocked it straight down. Well,
right,
man, thanks for going the distance. Thanks for hanging
Absolutely.
out. I appreciate it. Super good catching
you.
up with you. Super cool to hear the freaking coasters are working and like just such, especially. I mean, we're for anybody that listens to this later. We're recording this on July 16th. It's like we are in the beginning, thickest part of the summer lull. So that's awesome to do the boots on the ground stuff. Get the commercial work. Enjoy your vacation. Super glad your wife let you do it. Sounds like you got the same thing going on. She either really loves you, doesn't love you that much, or she feels guilty about something. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll figure that out later. I'll figure it out when I'm about 3 days into Michigan, and then depends on if she answers my phone call.
You'll know.
Yeah,
you'll know. All right, business nerds. Thank you guys for hanging out and listening to the marathon. If you got it this far, kudos to you. You guys know what to do. Work smarter and harder. Go earn yourself some pride. Good night.
Night. This happened